I've been through. I seen pain trying to creep in through the window, but now I'm sliding through the hood in a benzo. You gotta separate yourself just to elevate. I keep some drink in my cup to see through the hate. Sometimes on the road to glory, you gotta press the brakes. I got a lesson plan for all my past mistakes.
And we're back. It's right into the pistol round. Crims is already taken off ahead. That's what you like to see, but maybe Alliance is still yet to fight back. Alliance have gone and gotten quite a bit of territory. That territory comes with Era having solid positions that are going to quickly be removed from the map. 5 versus 3, fnatic in prime position to retake this A site.
Yeah, it was an incredibly pacey pistol here from Alliance, and it comes down to Twist. 3 players his direction on short, but he cannot even wrangle one. And while Upe is stuck inside of the pit, could have provided some support. He's lost his teammates, and now a 1-on-5. It's a nice shot, but far too little, too late. fnatic a solid retake, even with Alliance breaking through. It is the pistol for the international fnatic.
Just what you want to see as well coming through. Crims being able to find a couple of kills over here as well. And, you know, the conversation that we left off, Michael, was that fair? And Jambo, obviously, big talking points for this team. And we want to see them succeed over here as well. Alliance on the other side, though, want to make them fail.
Yeah, I mean, so much conversation around them, mainly because of how impactful and how strong they appeared to be when they had that incredible run under Passion UA and made it a lot further than most people would have anticipated when they were at the Shanghai Major. And, you know, the story always was that that squad was able to build up and play boot camps and, you know, really build a system of camaraderie and chemistry. And then pieces get pulled apart, as they often do. You know, if you're going to be a tier 2 team having a Cinderella run and demonstrating how good you are going to have your players poached. And, you know, I imagine that's also part of the business model for some of those tier 2 teams. But the expectations will be raised because of that. And I think, you know, Jambo's maybe had some difficulties transitioning and showing that same star level, that same flash and flare that really drew people to him. His deagle clutches, his AWPing prowess, it hasn't really materialized in the same ways on fnatic against tougher opposition as they've had to scale up. But I agree, you know, there is expectation, and there's also, I think, a bit of bated breath for fnatic, because they're having some solid results very recently, which has propelled them quite high in the conversation for that potential major spot as well.
Alliance, of course, a lot of their success will be predicated off of Avid. A relatively aggressive piece coming out for them in the rifling department. Always good to be able to have an aggressive rifler these days. It feels like one of the most surefire ways to guarantee your pathway into Tier 2 from Tier 3 in Alliance. I mean, the fact that they've even made it this far in the ESL Challenger Cup, they are so close towards that finish line. It is impressive in itself. They do not want to settle for impressive, though. They want to go far beyond that and actually compete for the title.
Yeah, they don't necessarily have the same VRS incentives this swing around for the major cycle, but they can play spoiler. They can ruin other teams' days.
That's just what you want to see. Incendiary is good, and unfortunately for Alliance, that means that the B side is going to be breached very quickly. You do have a quick rotation coming through over here from Blame F, rather unfortunately for fnatic. You do have a quick rotation from Blame F coming through, and with the CT smoke that has been completely missed, he has a chance over here to make this a little bit more ugly. There's a second player coming over as well. HE to blow open that smoke. It doesn't quite go far enough, so Jambo won't be set up for success. He's still thinking about going for the push through, and because of the time, elects not to do it. I thought he would. There was another smoke around the corner, so would have been tricky regardless.
Yeah, I don't think he knew about the second smoke, and I think was told about it as he went in. I think he was thinking about walking through to pool, and somebody, probably Fear or Cypher actually, someone from a spectator position has told him, you're going to walk into another smoke. You don't have an angle. So, yeah, it changes to a save. That's a really poor way to lose a round. You have deep banana control, you have players segmented to both sides of Deep Banana, and one Molotov that is airborne and bounces and, you know, takes ages to land at your feet. You both basically die fully to the to the one piece of utility. You know, it's not as though Fnatic couldn't have reacted. They were scared of making sound cues away. I think Cypher in the corner was hoping that it wouldn't spread to him. It does. And they both just get caught, and they don't even really give themselves a fighting chance. That one piece of utility displaces and just wins the round, essentially, for them based on that. So, shout out Twist, and maybe a lineup for those at home scared about deep banana control.
Twist, of course, one of the players you talked about. Good to see him still ready to nerd out about the game as well, if need be. One of the least celebrated players of Swedish Counter-Strike when you think about it. Multiple top 4s at majors for him once upon a time, but once upon a time feels like it was very, very long ago. Okay. Will be spotted out. Crim's on the crack angle. Will smoke himself off immediately. He's worried about a fast rush, and he's playing a bait and switch anyway. Blame F. The one who is set up to succeed, as he very often is, but there will be no success had as there is no contest. Fnatic, however, don't realize that. They've started to rotate players back over towards the A-bomb side just in case Alliance could go in for a very swift B hit.
They are tucking tail, and they'll be moving over to Cypher's direction, but he has a smoke and an incendiary that can slow things down substantially. If Alliance are trying to break past on a timing, they may have to push past the utility, and they'll just hope that they can do so before Cypher can get into prime position. They've already dealt with the lurk in Upe, who's trying to run distraction, and Cypher, incendiary runs a little too shallow, and he jumps above the smoke. It's his head ripped clean off. Back to 4-on-4, where because of the weaponry available here to Fnatic, there's an incentive to go for this, especially if players start spamming, and there's some solid spam right back. They find a kill right through those smokes, so Fnatic are going to come back in.
Avid isn't nestled away, don't forget, so until the crosses come over from CT spawn, this is basically going to be a 4-on-2. Utility aplenty, but utility's been a problem. They end up lining themselves, and that just gives more time for Poi and Twist to activate. 2 kills found, and now the CTs have got to save. I have to say, I'm really not impressed with what Fnatic has been bringing to the table as far as utility is concerned. I mean, maybe it's still early days, but Fair at the very least should be able to play some sort of containment. I'm surprised Blame F is also sticking around as long as he is, but another kill will never go miss. Yeah, last round, you're looking out towards the HE that doesn't fully pop up in the smoke. That's fine, it's whatever. It really doesn't matter, it's okay. But over here, the incendiary, not quite where it's supposed to be, not really able to take full advantage of that fact either at the 30-second mark. You're seeing some problems which hopefully will be dealt with quickly.
Yeah, I mean, even the double flash that they tried to orchestrate, flash themselves, I would agree. The utility has not been on point here for Fnatic so far. Whereas for Alliance, I haven't really seen them pressured too much. They've missed the smoke. And that's about all I've got, actually, so far. But we've been, I think, mainly watching these blunders unfold for Fnatic. I think it's always important as well in these matchups. Everybody has the expectation. There's a lot of eyes on Fnatic specifically because of VRS and where they currently sit. Suffering at the hands of a big upset actually could hurt you down the stretch. And that's a really nice job there from Alliance. Catching Fear, trying to be cheeky. Tried to body block the smoke.
Oh, great find from Cypher. I don't know if it actually leads to anything. Blame F on the spam is when he's been able to find much himself. I'm surprised the bomb is still committing out towards his B bomb side even after the M4A1 has spammed over. Maybe it's going to be a late rotation from Avid. No, it's not. And with Jambo finding so much information, they're more than comfortable just seating everyone on B, remaining on to Blame F to try and perform. First kill found, space given over not just to reload, but to also ask someone else to go out and tank aggro. Cypher happy to do so, he always is. But at the end of the day, they will still tuck their tail and look to save this M4.
You can't keep getting away with it. Blame F, 3 kills, 0 deaths, 4 rounds in. He's just too prudent.
Yeah, that's true. The thing about the VRS points as well, you know, when you're looking out towards a team like Alliance that you say, you know, everyone knows they're not really fully in the running. I think people really won't understand the impact of winning these events to the VRS for the next season until around November or so. Because the way it's worked is that even, you know, last season we were having this conversation that, oh, these events that are happening after the VRS cutoff, they don't really matter all that much, yada, yada, yada. And actually those events are the ones that have been determining factors to seeing who will get the invites to the first 4 events of the
100%.
season.
Yeah.
Right? So this is important. It's just not the immediate narrative for Alliance. And Alliance knows this as well. For them, it's about getting to Pro League. It's about getting to even just a regional final and making a case for yourself. This has not been a team on anyone's radar for really leapfrogging into the top 25 of the world. And with the way they've been steadily climbing up, this kind of tournament could make a difference.
Well, they were in the fortunate position where they were within the VRS for the previous major. You know, I think a team that's in the running currently that maybe wasn't was NIP is a great example. And I think the narrative around them was that, oh my god, they are actually climbing far enough that they may make the second major of the year. And currently, they may be in the most concerning form that they've been in some time. And I think they had a good star ladder result just the other day, and maybe it's time to turn the ship around. But that's where the things can break down. You can get so close, and then in the final months leading up, or in the final weeks leading up to the event, actually fall short. And that's maybe where NIP could find themselves if they're not too careful.
Well,
of course, Fnatic, NIP, legendary Swedish orgs? Fnatic, of course, a British organization, but always held a British core until this.
A Swedish core.
I'm sorry. Yes, Swedish core. Sorry, my brain went British.
It's okay.
A British Fnatic core. Who could have thought it? It did happen once, actually. Krims, Mezzi, Smuya. Oh, no, sorry. Mezzi, Smuya, Alex, Krims. Krims, my British goat.
Well, the British goat is still in the server, and he's about to be given contest very soon. Alliance is walking up through their own smoke, potentially. Rather... That's not a very deep smoke, actually, from the T side.
This is the only concerning part about Alliance's game so far, is that they've been hit by some awkward timings on smokes that has added this extra hesitation, and this time it's not really panning out to find the picks they want.
That had to be a misutil piece, right? Well, either way, Fear is going to be put underneath the spotlight. There isn't really any utility to be able to block off Coffin. Fear has a chance to be able to succeed over here. MP9 swings out, but Poi is just faster on the trigger. Cypher has struggled a little bit in the past year or so, and his ascent to Fnatic hasn't really been giving him too much more. A double swing on the other side will deliver nothing but death. Twist plays that perfectly, recedes back into safety, and Alliance, although they might end up losing out another member or so, are not going to be losing the round, not unless Era gives up his life for free, and Blamef doesn't think that's even a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, that is a great shame. I mean, they must have known that the player at the second oranges was likely low. Jambo's securing exits, but he loses his ult for his trouble, and I just do not see that as worth it. They have lost a substantial amount of rounds in a row. They could definitely buy up another ult, but having the extra rifle would have certainly done them wonders. Okay, the Blamef recovery of the ult is at least something that they can talk about. And now, you know, the buy is just not going to be great.
I think they should go for a half buy.
Yeah. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Yeah, that's a great shame, because I think Cypher had an opportunity to bring the round back, and he did his damage, but then knew an AWP was trained on him and just didn't want to swing into it, and kind of suffered as a result. Lovely pick from Jambo down mid.
Just what you want to see. Half buy coming up from Fnatic, and Jambo's AWP is able to strike in early on. Alliance is now man down. I'm curious to see how they're adjusted. They've done a very good job so far when things have been a little bit flowcharty, but now that the flowchart has been disrupted not once but twice, what is the play going to be versus what is still a very weak buy from Fnatic?
Alliance have very much been playing with the clock this half so far. I mean, we've come down to the last 20 seconds in, I think, 4 out of the 5 rounds. And I think that's part and parcel with what I was talking about before. They've been segmented and blocked at very specific timings, you know, that 40, 35 second mark, and they've still been able to whisk away some of those moments in spite of the poor timings that they're encountering. And that's actually testament to Fnatic, but maybe it could still bail themselves out. Poi going 1 for 1 over at B, while the distraction is rising over towards that A site. The bomb is still dropped T steps. So if they really want to make a good go of this round, they'll need to go back and recover that. And while they split, Jambo picks off the one set to take space on that A bomb site. This now likely turns into a twist save, unless he gets chances over at Banana, and that's why you see Cypher running for the high hills. He does not want to give that opportunity over, but they're split here on this defense.
And Jambo still has the op. If he misses a shot over here, those first 3 kills that he got will all be for naught. Jambo peeks out, and he won't miss, not this time. 4 kills in a round where they needed it critically. This is exactly the kind of Jambo step up that Fnatic have sorely needed and will need if they want to continue climbing up. Fantastic start to things. You see that Pete down the middle. Very aggressive. Always ready to reset. A great job.
Yeah, I think Fnatic came to a realization that they almost squandered that advantage they'd found themselves with. Got themselves into a 5-on-3, courtesy of that Jambo AWP. Only for it to come down to a 1-on-2. Or a 2-on-1, I suppose is the right way to frame that. Let's keep the numbers consistent. That's always been the conversation with this Fnatic roster, especially with the acquisition of Cypher, someone that I've followed through his entire career, mainly because of my personal relationship with him at one point or another, having been on a team with him, specifically, just to clarify. And he's been a hyper-aggressive entry fragger. He's had points in his career where he did not want to play that role, but it has stuck to him like glue because it's what he's good at. And he's had some consistency issues, you know, at times looks great and for weeks can look dominant, and then for weeks after sometimes look like a liability. I won't pretend that that is not the case. And he's had an uptick in performance recently, and that's really reflected in Fnatic's results as well.
You'd hope that it can translate through over here in this game as well. The Wolves Alliance are having a grand old time short of that last round still. Tech9s to try and rush down on the B-bomb side. This is a great crossfire. Flashes are good, and Fair peeking out from behind that smoke lines them up. Critical kills being found, 3 now to his name, and Era eats a grenade for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's not the best of diets. It is quite unhealthy, but maybe it'll still give him the power he needs in this 1 versus 3. Just back to new box. There are kits available, at least the one for Crims, and Jambo will shut down Era, make this an easy peasy round.
Yeah, they had incendiaries. They definitely could have used it if it came to. And they probably would have if Era had been able to whittle down the numbers by even just that extra member. But that's unsuccessful. And so Fnatic do pull through. Speed bomb site is not to be targeted too many times over. And now that Alliance are in a position where their money is not in the brightest of spots, it's a chance for Fnatic to equalize and potentially push into the lead. You have to see really anything too aggressive from Fnatic on this defense. They've been fairly reactive, and the one aggressive step that they did implement at the start of the game was doing a double push down bottom Banana, where they weren't even really pushing past the precipice to T steps, and they got destroyed. So I think it's a good justification to play a little bit more reserved. The Jambo Spice has been nice, though.
I don't know if Alliance can handle the spice, so the Swedes are not necessarily always known for that in their food.
Yeah, they're known for their interesting choice in fish.
Yeah, my brother-in-law is Swedish. He's told me about some strange rotten fish food that they really like. Flame F in the meanwhile, though, well, he's not having the best of times out here in the eco farm. At least he gets 1 kill.
Well, this is kind of teed up for 2 or 3 kills here for Crims. In a very strong angle. Still kind of toying with it. And actually displacing himself into a spot where he can get better coverage on the apartments. But he doesn't watch that smoke fade properly. And I think his head might have been spotted just as he rescinded into pit. But Jambo can cover. Crims and him both peak simultaneously. And, well, there's Crims with 2. Jambo with the other 2. And there's no problems collecting the kills over on that A site. So a tying moment here for fnatic. But one where they don't suffer any casualties along the way.
Let's see whether they can actually escape the purgatory of a tie. Alliance do come back in with a full buy, and let's see what they have in mind. A lot of the focus so far, like you mentioned before, was on the B-bomb site. And to be fair to fnatic, them losing the site and not being able to retake it often was predicated off of, you know, utility flubs and things like it as well. So we might not have seen the best from Alliance so far, but it might not have been needed either. Boy, great start to things. The 1-for-1 is something he's more than happy to take. The smoke refreshes and Fair can get no information about whether or not there's another player coming in from behind. Jambo has to maintain pressure because of it, and the Molotov will just force him away.
Still sits right behind that Molotov, though. Avid does get his space, but with Era alongside him, they will have to be careful of this fact. Jambo ready for the clear and able to retreat back safely to the site itself. So it's 2-2 on the split. Fear catching a glimpse of the feet of Twists. And that will be his undoing. But they lose Jambo on that A site. Problem is that bomb is very far detached from these Alliance members, even if they take some room on A.
Crim's in a great position as well, but he might be about to give up that position. There's plenty of time for Alliance to still get jiggy with it.
Yeah, fact of the matter is fnatic don't know that that bomb is down either.
It is in the gutters. CTs will have no eye lines out onto it at all. This could still end up being a very good B hit over here. Fair does have a smoke, but no incendiary, anything like it. But instead, Alliance will commit to A. They think they have a read, or at least they think they have a good position for Upe to be able to get himself into pit quickly out and over. The HE grenade clears things out. That clear will not be able to spot the player actually making his way onto the site to get the plant in. So Alliance will be able to dial the digits at the end of the day. Fair and Blame F, just take a look at their utility again. They do have incendiaries. This could be a very easy retake if those incendiaries go the right direction.
On the fly call for Alliance. They want to clear things out. Flash over, and Upe from the pit finds his kill straight into Moto. Blame trying to get the trade back, but Upe gets the better of him, and it's now just Fear from a 2-on-3 or 2-on-4. Alliance are looking to seal the deal straight away. A solid crossfire. Fear distracted. Knows a player on short, but he doesn't have time. He might have had the kit, but Alliance do not give him an inch to play with in this clutch. And Alliance pull through in that deficit to destroy and pick apart fnatic.
I mean, that is fantastic stuff coming through between Avid and Upe. Upe, of course, in the post plant comes out on top of it there, but you know, getting the kill on a Jambo is critical. Jambo's doing oh so much. Boys don't want to start off the round, of course, but getting Jambo out of this bomb site, then putting this confusion into the mix when they're playing with the time like you mentioned before, Michael. fnatic started moving back and forth. It really didn't feel like they could plant their feet down firmly and rely on their B side to be able to defend itself either. You see them pay the price for it.
Yeah, I love that as well, that Upe was, or Avid rather, was so decisive in what he was going to do. Got his plan through the flash to Upe so that he could clear short. It was really well done.
Oh, running out of bullets is Cypher, and Boy is going to punish. Twist and Boy take a fair bit of damage for that trade, but it's unconfirmed damage, most of it coming off the back of utility and a couple of spammed bullets. Twist likely just going to be a body to throw away, and Boy is more than happy to receive that offering. The problem is that he also also drop us a bomb down. It's inside the smoke, so it is recoverable. Blame F fully blinded out, and the bomb can be planted now because of it. Blame F, HE grenade goes the wrong way. This time, it's not a default plant. The incendiary as well will not be able to do anything. Refresh on the CT smoke funnels the Fnatic players back over to Coffin, and Alliance have got themselves a fantastic post-plant position. The one incendiary that Blame F has needs to be used if they want to flush out these secret players, but you're likely going to see it go to Newbox instead. Crims makes his way over. They've got smokes to segment off B, but that doesn't feel like it's what they want to do. A smoke back to quad, rather that's the incendiary. Clears out Newbox, sure, but time's running down low, and Fnatic have taken far too long. Yamba with one, Upe with the second. That trade is all they needed. Alliance are manhandling Fnatic on this B side.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the early util exchanges, I would say Fnatic are probably getting the edge, but when Fnatic have tried to brute force the control of top banana, they've either been losing a player or going 1-for-1 at best. And there's been some real struggles just in sort of containing this position. And I don't want to say it. I really don't. But how is Jambo the one entry retaking with the AWP with Blame next to him? I don't. I love that this is what he's doing instead in the following round, being hyper aggressive and trying to change what his typical route has been so far this game, and he's done well. 2 kills, an assertion down mid, but he is likely to go traded. Upe, no, instead Blame F overpowers, and it's Poi left in the clutch. 1-on-3 brought 1-on-2. And he has full access to that package and a lot of that clock to play with.
Gotta appreciate the move from Crims. Slow creep through. We'll at the very least soon be able to declare that this B bomb site is not the destination of Poi, but with that time that you mentioned, Michael, Poi can really throw them for a loop. Fnatic also don't have the best weapons on these two players. They don't have replacement rifles available unless they foray out into what is technically danger zone.
Yeah. I love that this is what Fnatic are doing because they don't want to just simply wait and allow Poi to clear absolutely everything. They know just as well as he does that he is flying blind. He will have to try and clear things out and hope he doesn't fall into a solo anchor player or someone trying to play a ratty position. And so Fnatic stay proactive and they clear a lot of the map. And when they finally hear that transition to site, the Molotov, yeah, they'll know where Poi is. And they'll hope to catch him in transition. He just was not expecting them to be standing shoulder to shoulder. That still comes so damn close.
I think Poi probably checked the scoreboard and saw Crims is still alive. That's why he's so worried about a player being out towards the A bomb side. But with the stack coming out together, Fnatic, like you said, made all the right moves, and they're able to capitalize off of Blame F's 3K at the starting point. And credit out to Fnatic, that round is worth its weight in 2. Alliance should not be able to win this one out over here. That triple kill comes at the all-important point. If not for that, Fnatic could have very well found themselves down 4-8 as well.
Fantastic tempo swing, and it's a fantastic impact moment for Blame F, and he's even struck in with another opening, this time over down mid through the smoke. I think, when you looked at players like Rops on Mouse and, Rops towards the tail end of his phase journey, you saw sometimes flashes of how good he could be, but then how sometimes passive he'd be that you couldn't see that demonstration. But no problems here for Blame F at the end of the half. 6-6 as Fnatic tie things up. We'll see how things go after the break.
tie at the half means that things are very much up in the air. This pistol round will be deciding a lot. fnatic now switch over to the T side. Alliance on the CT side of their own map pick. We continue on with the first map in the upper bracket semifinals of the ESL Season 50 European Cup number 2. Boy, dominating a lot of the duels out in Banana on the T side, now hopes to do the same here on the defensive angle.
Flash in. They clearly wanted to set up for some early duels, but fnatic were playing hidden away from that utility, and so while those flashes get very little, all they've really got confirmation of is maybe one at the T steps, one fighting towards Banana, but nothing else, and they've still lent a third player back to that A site instead. fnatic are slow investigating, but they're being quite loud about their journey through Banana.
I mean, they're just exploring with players right now. They just want to find a kill and then go there. Crims gets one, and BlameF just gets decapitated on the other side of the map. The CT still feel comfortable sitting down and holding positions. This is going to be much more favorable to them the way the time is ticking down and out. There's going to be about 20 seconds left when fnatic try and swarm the site on A.
Yeah, they've got nothing to displace this player in pit either.
The smoke comes out on the Moto. Era is able to be past it, so he's not going to be too affected by it. In fact, the only thing he has to worry about now is a backstab through the smoke, potentially. Twist still stays and wait. There's 10 seconds on the clock. Twist has it all to do, but now he sees players jumping over and about. They're just going to swarm him down. Do not displace, just destroy. That is the fnatic way.
Yeah, didn't have to even wait too long, really, for the link up. Didn't have to wait for Fear to come through that smoke on Moto. They find both players on that A site, and like you said, they simply swarm Twist. Didn't need anything to force him to take the fight. So a very slow, drawn-out pistol from fnatic, where ultimately they probe the entirety of the map. They leverage that one kill that Crims gets into an A-side explosion. And Alliance are left wanting. They had an opening gambit that, you know, the Alliance side clearly had an opening gambit they wanted to perform at the start of this pistol and really just didn't get anything from it. Nice clean start. A force buy for Alliance in response. Era on that scout. Someone that we haven't really necessarily talked about, but one that has quite a lot of experience and has kind of built up over the years, and I think has had, coming up on his 8th year as a professional player. And he started off sort of, I think, part-time from schooling based on his sort of early playing days. But became quite a sort of an electrifying AWPer that people were quite excited to see the growth of, and has become, you know, I think maybe mischaracterized as an old head, but doesn't have that same clamor about him anymore. But it's still been performing quite well with Alliance in their recent rise.
He's always been a player who unfortunately has felt like hasn't been able to elevate to the absolute tippity top, but now you realize who really has.
Yeah.
Boy, eyes and wait, there's a lot to do when he loses a player already, but the force buy still continues to fight back. Jambo good for 2 and pushing through the smoke. Jambo's feeling spicy. 20-5 right now. This is a dish you're not going to find served in a Swedish restaurant. Era is in fact going to be eaten up by the USP of Jambo. That is an insane map.
Yeah, that's just one of those rounds as well. You could tell from fight 2 to 3 onwards, Jambo was just running with the punches and seeing how much he could squeeze out of this moment. And everybody that went to duel him either wasn't expecting him or just does barely enough damage to have said they did their job. But yeah, Era could have put a stop to it. He's not been having one of those games. Jambo has 21-5, and you know, maybe critiquing Blame and for his kill death scoreline early on into the game, but really it was that B bomb site that was constantly under siege from Alliance, and that seemed to be the real liability for Fnatic on that defense. And so very often Jambo and Blamef were too far detached, and that's just the nature of Inferno, where you are going to be segmented away from bomb sites in a way that's uncomfortable to retake. So that's why they find themselves with 21-5 and 12-5 scorelines, where they have lost 6 rounds. They played 12 on that CT side. That's a lot of CTs. Oh, and it's been spotted immediately, so...
Was this stack first done by Fnatic? I think it was. Like the Inferno like the Inferno Tower stack was... I'm pretty sure this was Fnatic.
Yeah, but I'm... That one, maybe?
Like back in like 2014.
But then the one that became famous also was the Astralis stack.
That was with 4 people.
I was like that was a pyramid. That was like 2 and then 1 on...
That was the actual cheerleader stack. This is the tower stack.
Yeah. I'm not too sure. But hey, I mean, if we're going as far back as Fnatic, in theory, they both have a claim to that strat.
That's true. God, one of the coolest things I remember watching, like in my early days of CS, is that Fnatic, initially the Swedish Fnatic, and this is 2014 as well, they started experimenting with throwing like incendiaries on the rooftops to interrupt smokes, and like that back then I was like, oh my god, this is genius. Who uses like Molotovs anyway? Those suck.
Right. That was your takeaway. That's crazy.
Yeah. People really didn't know how to use Molotovs until like 2017, man. I'm telling you.
He threw them as an obligation.
Yeah, it's like, well, I'm gonna be scolded if I don't. So yeah. Alliance right now are not having as much fun as we are on their own map pick. It is very much do or die for them. Era needs to get out of the buy zone. 3.14, or rather 314. Not a pretty place to be, even if it is quite tasty for Fnatic to continue chomping down on.
That's a full damage nade straight into Jambo. 55 health detached. And based off of very little, Alliance are moving for 4 players on that A bomb site. Now they did blow open that bottom banana smoke. They knew that 1 player was T steps, but that's about all they really reacted to. They're relying on Era, who has been having his difficulties to lock down B and banana. He takes that duel and he does decent damage, but he's still sticking around. Incendiary deep, but he's shot between the pickets. And it's Fear that looks to hound him down. Smoke just blooming at the mouth to B, and Arrow doing well, but Cypher actually finding the kill onto Fear, and Arrow gets to a collateral no-scope through that smoke. And from Arrow, a 0 to hero moment, solo defends this B bomb site.
I would like to
and Blame just runs.
To Era.
He did get some help. He did get
Not only does he get a double kill on the no-scope, he also uses the force to control Cypher's grenade away from him onto Fair. My goodness, this man really is the chosen.
I can't believe that that's how that round plays out. You know, if an AWPer misses a kill from top car to deep banana, instincts are first run. Era didn't do that. He went for another shot. They closed the gap on him. He looked like he should and would be a dead man 9.9 out of 10 times. 99 out of 100 times. I don't know how he got away with that. But then also simultaneously, Fnatic? First player jumping through the smoke, trying to chase down the kill, fine, but Cypher's then HE'd the smoke to try and blow it open so they can get a sightline, and he's killed Fear as he's about to jump through the smoke. It's clearly not everybody was on the same page there for Fnatic, and it all lined up beautifully for an era that, you know, definitely needed the pick-me-up.
I don't think the comms are calming right now. Let's put it that way. I was looking to pick up a couple of more kills, this time slightly more honest in his endeavors. There will be no Jedi mind tricks here, Obi. Oh, well, there's also not going to be any shots fired, apparently. Yeah, he peeks back over once flashbang duration has finished off. Great kill found, and he will be able to recede. It is another re-aggression, though. He's moved past the utility that was thrown. The T-side aren't going to be ready for this one. Will they have heard the scope? Krim certainly within earshot, but it's always hard to register. No scoping sound.
I can feel the revitalization of Era just after that one round, and even if it does come as a set of unfortunate circumstances for Fnatic, sometimes that's all it takes, is one moment for a player to suddenly feel like they can contribute again. Almost like a writer's block. See if Alliance have more to put pen to page here on this defense. It has an execute coming their way, but they've got 3 in defense.
Quick dinks and Poi will be low because of it. Avid still stays. He's taking a long time with some of these duels. He's only going to be good for 1, and Poi's been found out. Avid cannot pick up the multi. So Fnatic, despite, you know, a couple of hiccups here and there, are going to be back to winning ways. It looked like a good round for Era to activate again, but unfortunately the B-bomb site really letting him down.
Yeah, will be a save here for Era. Don't think there's any shame in that. That was a little strange to look at, though. 3-man setup on that B-bomb site, but players were not playing off each other. You know, Avid first contact, but then has to reload, and Poi is just hoping they don't hard clear for him, but that... his cover on that bomb site isn't really big enough to stop a progressing T-side. And in their efforts to hunt down Avid, they get Poi for free. So it felt a little disjointed from Alliance, in spite of players being in position where they could hinge off each other. Not everybody swung or fought the things that they had to make the setup work.
Yeah.
So Fnatic are able to pretty easily break into a 10th round. Or put under too much pressure or scrutiny.
Timeout called in from Alliance, and, you know, as much as we've been talking about the Fnatic side as well, it has to be said that, yeah, unfortunately for Alliance, we haven't really seen the normal heavy hitters shine the same way. Avid is having quite a weak performance. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but he's supposed to be one of the stars of this team, right? You're looking out towards Upe, who sure is supposed to be a bit more quiet, but maybe not this quiet. It does feel like firepower is slightly lacking for the Alliance side right now.
Yeah, whereas if you're thinking about Fnatic and the players they have on that team, you know they have firepower.
Yeah. They might not have comms, map awareness, etc., 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 but they do have the crosshair placement down.
A bit harsh.
Well, it's harsh to lose a duel out to Era like that. A boost up and Crimson's gone. They might be expecting fewer players on this B-bomb, so they're right, but can they still overrun Twist and Poi? Wait in the lines. Jambo, good for 1. He always is. Somehow he's traded. He's normally good for multiple. Even so, Alliance 3 versus 3, not a terrible place to be. They've got utility to be able to break into the side should they want to line it up. Upe will be late to the party. If there is a refresh on that smoke, there isn't actually. There is only an incendiary now available for Cypher to try and stop things. The Molotov will be going back in towards CT. The clearing of new box has come through, and now Era has to show us some Yambo shenanigans. It's a hard line to live up to, though, and Cypher's trade will come in the hands of Upe, not Era. Era is still yet to fully commit. He is trying to cover off Banana. Blame F is unable to find the spam. Fear is the one to do so instead. An Era bull rushing into the site will only be given death.
Yeah, nobody will save that AWP, but it's very well done between Cypher and Fear just in that after plant, managing to skirt on by and play on positions and wait for that Blamef security as well. They cover both ends of that smoke with the spam, and Fear is able to close the gap, but Alliance looked off tempo. And I think when I use that word, some people may not know what I necessarily mean, but they weren't forecasting the execute properly. They didn't expect the timing that fnatic were going for, how much they would push past the smokes. Twist was being very greedy with his utility on Banana when they or on the B bomb site rather, when fnatic were setting up to just brute force straight into it. And I think there's been a couple of moments so far in this half where it's been kind of indicative that Alliance are flying a little bit more blind than you would hope, given how great they played that first half. But then fnatic walk and contact straight into the mouth of P and get ripped to shreds. From MP9s to Deagles, it's Crims that serves to recover. And while he has access to that bomb and the site itself, he's worried about what's to come and what's to follow for Alliance.
Alliance have to be careful. They're going to be accelerating right into his crosshair. Crims could get it all down and out, and of course he does! Once upon a time, the famed defender of Banana now reclaims his position. Freiberg might have been given the throne, but Crims was the silent killer behind it. 12 for fnatic, and all of the bald man's efforts.
They knew that they were staring down one of the legends of Swedish Counter-Strike. And they couldn't hack it. Once he got that double kill, I mean, things do get nervy. But yeah, a real chance there for Alliance to steal an advantage back, keep fnatic at bay. Would have kept them away from 12. But now fnatic have 5 chances to close out this map. This is Alliance's pick in the series. While that first half felt pretty well constructed, they abused that B bomb site. They have had issues themselves defending that B site. And losing the 4-on-1 may just take the wind completely out of their sails.
They still have a chance. Not a very good one, but at least it's one with all the rifles, all the bits and bobs. Kits are missing those. You would expect to see maybe some early duels, some aggression to be taken into account for the lack of the diffuse kits. fnatic are taking their time though. They want to let Jambo work his magic, and you understand why when you look at his scoreboard. 25-9. And I hate to break it to you, his KD's been falling.
Double swing. Oh, wait, Cypher wasn't with it? I thought that was... Crims jumped out of the balcony alongside... They were both on the balcony. It looked like Crims was resetting just to set up for the double swing, and then they simply didn't. So that felt like a...
resetting into the A site where... players are starting to move away. Yambo's going to be able to find one of the few that remained. Evid, who was going for information, is not going to find that info. Boys still rotated back to B, so you only have one player here. Era has to defend. You need a Jambo-esque performance, and he will be trying to give it to us. Elevates himself in more ways than just one. Both players coming from a similar angle, but Blamef can still blindside him. 2 versus 2, a flashbang that will not be deployed. Blamef's body on the ground, dropped from balcony. Right into a graveyard. Fear now has to play this 1v2. Headshots being found. One more! And a one-tap! Alliance keep being given hope, and fnatic steal it right back from their hands.
That's the star power. That's the composure that fnatic have been able to offer us as of late. I mean, that's the fear factor. Whether it's Crims, Fear, Jambo, Blamef, you know, Cypher, all these players could be so explosive and deliver in these moments, and down the stretch they did. You know, there were a couple of glimpses in that second half for Alliance to really pull the map back, but there were just a few too many moments where these star players of fnatic really did step up. Whereas you look at Alliance, it felt like it was more of a collective objective, more the macro, what choices they were making, which site that they were targeting. They couldn't quite piece that together on the CT side, where all of a sudden these fights were coming to them instead.
I mean, Fnatic come with a fair share of problems, but like you said, Michael, star power galore. At the end of the day, you can be your own light in the tunnel is what I'm seeing from Fnatic. We've seen great moments from Jambo. We've seen a clutch from Fear, a clutch from Crims. Blame F, obviously, in that first half. You look out towards that aggressive triple he's able to find. That is what gives them the 6-6 equalization in the first place. This is a performance so good that you might even call them Chinese-esque, Michael.
Yeah, I suppose so. Maybe not quite an atom so rare, but I'm quite a fan of many of these members on Fnatic, and I think it is planning seeming to go quite well for Alliance.
I will be honest, I think Fnatic also showed us a lot of problems when they had more than 2 players alive, but apparently when you bring them down to 2, they were pretty good at everything.
Yeah, when they simplified, things got really interesting.
Yeah, when I can just mute people because they're dead, suddenly game gets better. Wow. Avid, in the meanwhile, has peeked out into a deadly cipher. And no, that's not a Dan Brown book name, I promise you. This is a good old UK lad. AMF continues to find a way as well. The 2 versus 1, the full bait and switch setup. You thought Blame F could bait? Let me show you what Era can do.
They should, I was going to say, they should still clear very strongly for that, because the chances of a player playing Car immediately fighting off of basically no prompts is quite low. And so, Fnatic don't make the mistake of not clearing for that secondary player. Cypher with 3 kills in this pistol. And only Twist that remains, just trying to scramble together a couple of frags, see if he can inject some extra cash into his teammates' pockets alongside his own.
Alliance are not able to start with winning ways coming into Dust 2. Are you surprised that they elected to go for the CT side start on Dust 2?
I think I would have been a few months ago, prior to all this conversation around the buffing to the CT side and, utility getting better, teams just being better on CT sides. I think I would have been more confused a couple of months ago, but it's fine. I think when teams are going into maps of relative discomfort, they'd like to start with the side that they know is a bit more simple, like you're reacting to what your opponent is doing, and you can kind of set up yourselves up in a relatively easy way. Like this, the starters on Dust 2 for most teams are quite basic, but they are very effective, and you don't need to overcomplicate it. So,
well, I'm glad that you're bringing up uncomfortable, because Alliance have played this map a lot these past 3 months. They played it about 21, 22 times. They have almost a smack dab 50% win rate on it, so yeah. Strange. But also very Dust 2.
It is, yeah. I think regardless of what changes this map seems to undergo, it always seems to find its balance. That's why it's the GOAT. That's why it's been copied in many other FPSs. And it's served as a blueprint for maps to follow.
Yeah. A player we'll be keeping an eye out on is, of course, Avid after a weaker performance in the first game. I'm really hoping we can see that step up over here, and will be incredibly needed on a map like Dust 2. Era as well was very late to the party. Did have a few moments. Let's not, mince any words about that, but those moments were towards the end of the clock. Era now. Tag has been missed. The Molotov is incredibly damaging. Upe not feeling happy about that at all, but in the meanwhile, Era is good for a kill of his own. Now, 3 versus 3, and Avid now having recovered that scout could still make things interesting. Twist on the 5-7 is doing just that as well. Crim's able to get the single kill they need to get the bomb plant in. Now, this leaves things onto Boy more than anything else. Avid does have a body to throw away, might be asked to come over and go through the smoke first. There's certainly enough time for him to make his way over. But there are 2 AKs on the other side, so there's not much that's going to be stopping you from just getting the boat down.
Oh yeah.
Refresh on the smoke is not helpful at all either.
As soon as that happens, you knew they were gonna save. You know, one smoke, they can maybe wait out and try and play the 20-second timer on the bomb, but two, the bomb will explode before that smoke's faded. So yeah, not a lot of chance for fnatic to get back into that one, or rather Alliance. And just barely fnatic scrambling together the round, even in spite of the forced buy and these players getting picked off on their journey, taking tags. Not enough to convert. I did love that Crims almost made a mistake. You know, hard swinging Avid to long was probably a likely kill for Crims, given that Avid was what, 2 HP. But yeah, it's also the one way that you could probably lose the round. So he kind of caught himself before he committed to the swing. That's veterancy.
Something if dreams of achieving eventually. Right now, all he's achieved is a shot to the head. Boy is to blame. Avid wants to give Alliance a grand good old name. Now Avid wants to continue forward. Another kill found and damage on Jambo. At that, Jambo was a danger man. Off map gone by. But now it's a 2 versus 3. Alliance have found themselves in very winning ways, even if their weapons might not be the best for the situation.
Yeah, not the most conducive. And I think the positive that they'll bear is that they have a player already at back plat on that B side that doesn't necessarily even need to reveal himself at any given point. But by the time that fnatic start making noise or progressing into that B bomb site, they'll probably throw in smokes or flashes. But, well, Upe showed his head. And so back to 2-on-2, where this scout has to do a lot. And it does. It lands the tag immediately to Jambo. But Era will need more. His teammate is so far away.
Crims pulls out the Molotov as well. That is risky business. Era, well, he's not going to be spreading out towards him. The barrels in the middle will interrupt that. Crims has got no way of flushing this player out. He's realizing that now as well. Waits for the rotation to come through, and Era's never peeking. He's a bit of a veteran himself, Michael. He said we shouldn't be treating him like an old head, but he's playing like one right now. And you love to see it. 15 seconds, the clock is working against Crims in every sense of the word, and now this round is all but lost for him. No longer the deals to take, the Eagles running away. Twist knows to hide and duck and run. Era will find the AK as his prize.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the old Swedes left in the clutch, and nobody would give Crims an inch. They wouldn't give him a chance to clutch this one back. They got into a situation similar on Inferno, and he destroyed them. So Alliance play it safe. They play behind cover, hard cover that's unspammable, and they wait him out. I thought Upe had kind of given up the advantage, but luckily for him, Era was able to rectify.
Yeah, Era played exactly how Upe probably should have.
Yeah.
Jambo, however, is not one to stop. That much we know from the previous game, and, you know, from his career in general.
Very aggressive step. I mean, beat the smoke on over at long, and oh my god, what? How does Cypher die there? Crims just rounding the corner, and Avid insta headshots Crims' teammate behind him.
That is an unfortunate death.
Yeah,
put it that way.
That's one of the ones you look back in the demo and think, that's not my fault, but that one could be. Lovely shot from Boy.
He's not making his way over as well. The shadow spotted as well. He's making so much noise. Blame F. You know there's multiple players there. At least the one is confirmed.
Yeah, he knew he was close.
And now you're back to a 2 versus 2 without possession of the bomb. Era good for one. I mean, Crims doesn't have any utility at all, and he needs it. Oh, he needs it badly.
Crims did fake the drop, though.
The has is that Era doesn't really fully know they have the control of the bomb. I don't think so.
Yeah, Crims faked the drop like he was on the floor, so Era has to be very cautious about all elevations.
Makes him more likely to miss, and Crims likely will need only just that one bullet gone stray. Sideline adjusted. Era will miss it. Crims takes it away. This is why you cannot give him an inch.
It's just sweet on sweet violence in these late rounds. It really is. I mean, another Crim's clutch from attempt to conversion. And it's the same opposition he finds himself staring down.
It's true, actually. Era's been on the receiving end a few too many times now.
You just see how patient Crims is in those clutch moments, though. He's expecting somebody to swing, expecting someone to take the fight first, and he's been right. In all but one. This is a very accelerated pace from BlameF. Almost loses his duel to an SMG. And those two players looking to chain him over from short. Twist doesn't go swinging for it. And it's instead Avid that trades. So Blame with a double on his aggressive mid lurk.
Jamba looks away. He's worried about a push through the smoke, but really the problem was going to be Era from Goose. Oh, Era's going to be able to find another kill as well. They are just peeking blind before the smoke will bloom. Era flourishing in his moment. Leaves Cypher alone. A good start to Dust 2. He really has had it. But he's not necessarily always the one known for late rounds.
He's also playing it so slowly. He's trying to bleed the clock as much as possible. And hope that Alliance are very deeply concerned about that B-bomb site, because they would have been reacting. They would have been repositioning to address the aggression that was happening on that A side. They're staying close together.
Retail is good. It should be able to get a bomb plant guaranteed over here if Cypher only just commits to it, but he's planting for short. There's certainly a possibility if Abed had just popped through the smoke with a grenade. Cypher pulls away his gun?
Yeah, he quick switched just as he came off the bomb. That's a mistake, because he would have had his gun ready in time if he had stuck the plant and just kept his gun raised, but yeah, that's a mistake.
Everyone can't be a clutcher.
That is a mistake. Not everyone's built the same way. There aren't many built like Crims, I'll put it that. Well, give you that one for free. But that's a sigh of relief for Alliance. They've been in many man advantages. They've had these chances, and I really do think this Era AWP blindsided them. You know, given BlameF is walked through middle and he's fighting SMGs and the like, you know, they knew that there were maybe a couple of rifles, but the AWP for Era from Goose really did pick them apart before they could really react appropriately.
Oh my god, Era's just picking them apart even when he knows they're there.
And using that techie HE to try and get a pick towards top mid as well. A 9-4 start is much better than what we saw from Era at the start of Inferno. You saw him contained at 3 to 14 kills. You adequately described it as pie. And then he had that crazy 3k B-hold. And that was kind of it. So nice to see him getting off to a roaring start.
No, that line hasn't really stopped roaring. This might even be able to find a little bit more. Will be asked to do so at the very least. Crimson's Deagle has been untouchable, and he will be peeking out once again into the AWP. You've got to be joking me. How has he done that?
Oh dear.
I mean, it doesn't feel fair.
That isn't fair, actually. Through the smoke. From his lurk on short, from behind the flames, he got glimpses of players and ripped their head clean off. Crims knows what he has to do against his countrymen. I better see a post of Crims in the I had to do it to them pose after this game. Because he's doing it to them.
I mean, Yambo's been a little bit more sketchy this time over, but it feels like you're allowed to have that happen after the map you just had on Inferno. BlameF at least can make sure the ecos will not get the better of fnatic.
Also, I am a big fan of how BlameF has been playing so far in this map, especially. I will describe myself as a critic of him. But when he's playing forward and he's taking these deeper timings and he's trying to contain cat aggression and mid fights, that's why I feel like he can really flourish in ways that sometimes I just find it rare he takes the route for. That said, he starts off well, and things have gone a little pear-shaped for Fnatic, down to a 3-on-3, where Jambo's already taken a lot of damage at the start of this round. Molotov did not go deep enough.
Fnatic could still lose this one.
I think they're likely to.
Not with Upe moving away.
This reset into the upper tunnels as well is very good, given, like you described, Upe has moved away from B.
Are they going to be here on time? Upe really just needs one kill. That's all he needs, and that's what he finds. Now reinforcements make their way over. Crims on the other side is going to still take him down. Bomb being planted, fully committed. Yambo needs to cover. Twist making noise. That noise is enough to get Yambo to move. Yambo, though, is going to end up falling. Era, it is a clutch. Not against Crims. Of course he's winning it.
Yeah, doesn't have those same nerves. And knew that they had struck in on that timing. Had them split as well. One was planting, one defending. And they tried to keep that pressure applied. So lovely play there from Alliance. Beautiful shot from Upe. You're right to describe it as a must-hit shot, because if it's a 3-on-3 in that after plant, then they can't make that aggressive play through past those smokes and while they're going for the plant. These Deegs are nothing to trifle with.
Clearly. Timeout called by Alliance as they do sit down to settle their affairs a little bit more so. And guys, we can reset them. Just remember, if you see Freddy, Crims, Johansson anywhere, please run.
We either kill him first, or we leave him be.
Please do not mess with the 31 years old Swedish talent.
Yeah.
I mean, Era has been dominant, though. Well, it's a very similar start to what Yambo had in Inferno. He is 12-5 right now. Closest on his team to him would be Avid with just 5. A flash would certainly help over here, though. Avid could pick up some numbers. Is that flash coming? Yes, it is! They're all blind! No one turn away! The USB at the ready! And Avid! This was not an eco, this was a force buy. Fnatic are maybe going to want to forget that fact. A full ace coming through for the Rifler, who has largely been a little bit off the server.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful setup, beautiful play. They lined up beautifully. I mean, there couldn't have been a better flash. They couldn't have been in better positions when they got hit by the flash. You see how they all sort of clumped themselves together. Avid able to line them up and knock them down. And after you get 4, why not feast on a 5th? A great way to jumpstart the engine, because, like you said, he's been fairly pedestrian, where a lot of the recent successes for Alliance have been predicated off of players like Avid, like Era. You need them both in fighting form, and they may just provide that here on the second map. Will be the other pieces that will also need to help supplement. Maybe a chance to versus the Glocks. There's a BlameF Deeg. But he's not taking any aggressive lines.
The bomb isn't there with them regardless. So even if they scale onto the bomb side, there's not really much to do over here other than maybe get a few kills. And those few kills are evading them so far. It'll be 5 alive with the CTs, and this is enough money to be able to finish out the rest of the half. as long as they can at least keep 1 or 2 weapons in critical junctions.
Keeping things simple enough. Hope for Jambo's back out. And nobody has a good spawn for fnatic to take aggressive long control. So I'm expecting a very slow tempo default type of round. I think what's interesting about both these squads is that neither has really been that proactive or that aggressive on CT sides. I think in mid rounds they've both been fairly logical about what they're going to do next. In the early stages, nobody's been too hyper fixated on taking early duels. It's been a rather courteous outing from both sides, but finally a tempo change, and Poi is immediately up top mid. Nobody is watching for this whatsoever. Oh, this could be bad. Oh, dear. Oh, my God. Fear just turned away. And so Poi's timing is looking real rambunctious. He could completely blindside Fear. He catches a glimpse of the gun, but that's access to the bomb and a double. Poi's possession of that package will place fnatic in a precarious spot.
It's not just precarious. They're already tipping over the edge. fnatic start things off with a couple of magical moments to give them what should have been an unstoppable lead. Unfortunately for them, it hasn't just been stopped, it's been crushed down. Alliance are once again going to reset the money. fnatic will be forced to reckon between a save and a half buy at best. I don't know if Yambo will be allowed to save this up. Flashes are raining his way. They are triangulating him down, and not even a single kill found by Yambo. They have 4 AKs and an AWP on Alliance, and they're on the CT side.
Can you ask for more on CT? Yeah, that's dangerous. And you know, I'm usually very critical of moments like that where on a default you're not, you know, considering a certain option, but you know, by and large, again, neither team has really been that forward facing or that aggressive. This is the one instance where they do it, and it catches fnatic in just completely off guard. They're blindsided by it, but they also didn't have good long spawns. I think that's also another factor that, you know, they were always going to try and maneuver for long and mid and maybe cat a little late, and it was the perfect decision for the moment.
Ooh. Tag's going either way, but it is Jambo to be the one to find the kill first and foremost. fnatic, I mean, they've already had plenty of bailout moments. They're hoping for another.
Yeah, that did feel a little unnecessary from Era. When you're fighting a scout down mid, they can be far more mobile. They're fine. They shoot faster than the AWP does. When spamming through those doors, they have more ammo. Once Era realized that he was dealing with a scout, he actually probably should have backed off. This could give a way in for fnatic, but only if they deal with these B-side players. Upe, a kill, and then the follow-up smoke. And there's no open pathway for fnatic.
Always easy to say they had a chance, but it's never an easy one when you are going up against a double reinforced B-side. Hard to get much done there. fnatic realized that in this 3 versus 4, their chances have dwindled down to nearly nothing. A reasonably fresh smoke on a short. And is Twist thinking about playing behind it? Smoke will start to dissipate soon. You have to be careful. Fair's actually crept his way forward as well. There's still a scout in the hands of BlameF. He's using the Deagle, so they'll get the kills and the bomb plant can be found. There's an AK recovered for Fear as well. There's another AK on the site that BlameF will be able to swap out into. Keep an eye on that kid. It's going to be important. Potentially might be needed. Actually, both players already have one. Fair is covering off the cross. Both utility pieces from the CTs have already been used. There's a great crossfire established. Fair reveals his position. He's trying to play it out for first contact. BlameF plays it for the first. Gets one. Should have been 2, but Boy is ready and waiting. That does feel like an overstep from Fnatic.
Yeah, and they wanted to double swing off of the flash, but they did not expect just how far Alliance had gotten up the catwalk. They were hoping that they were still contained at the boxes. I think, you know, they deployed that flash quite early in the after plant. And they forecast it improperly, and they fall into a poi that just came off of a confidence round just gone by, and comes in with a clutch as well. So Alliance are going to be very pleased. They've had their shortfalls when it's come to these late round moments. Those have favored Fnatic predominantly.
Oh, Blame goes out. He had a flashbang to help him, but Twist was already spraying. Gets a better off Blame.
It's very brute forced, and this blocking smoke is going to be annoying here for Fnatic, where they may want to try and creep it, but Jabba will attempt some picks above, only for Error to answer in kind. It's not just one AWP peering above that smoke.
I am shocked that he goes in for that repeak over there before his scope is even ready. I mean, even if his scope was ready, to be fair, I just surprised. He sees Error going out for the swing on top of the side. That gives up the advantage to Alliance in a position where Fnatic don't have flashes. So you are relying on what is going to be purely hard clearing angles. And poi is not having any of it. Good way to continue to delay the HE in middle, makes him double guess it, but Avid is the one who's already used his incendiary. He has to be careful. He's making noise. Fair. Might have an idea of what's going on. Avid on the jump spot. He knows he's only after information, and Era is here to take advantage of said info. Era repeaks back out over. He's, of course, going to be doing so. With the game he's been having, always would. 8 now on the board for Alliance. It is 6 in a row. Fnatic not expecting that at all. They are not able to get more than what Crim's magical kills has delivered. Can they do so in that second half, or will Alliance bring it to a third? Let's find out after a break.
Sometimes you gotta pray for a victory. Yeah, I'm overzealous when I'm thinking about the cash flow. I never had no handouts, just came natural. I've been tested so much, all these wrestlers nice. All these different situations that I've been through. I seen pain trying to creep in through the window, but now I'm sliding through the hood in a benzo. You gotta separate yourself just to elevate. I keep some drink in my cup to see through the hate. Sometimes on the road to glory, you gotta press the brakes. I got a lesson plan for all my past mistakes. I swear I'm proud of all my best and my worst days. Proud of on my feet when I touch the ground. Front of 8 at Beijing, man, they know the sound. I know I made mistakes, but my mama proud. Fans scream my lyrics out in the background. They ain't know me then, but I'm hot now. They say life's a gamble, you gotta roll the dice. I risked a lot of different things just to live this life. Life down bad, you gotta pay the price. I've been through hell and back just to live this life. They say life's a gamble, you gotta roll the dice. I risked a lot of different things just to live this life. When you down bad, you gotta pay the price. I've been through hell and back just to live this life. I'm faced with a lot of different choices these days. Do a rock and roll Lex account of Blueface. The whole world know my name off a mixtape. I still got the same brothers since 6th grade. G-Wagon red seats, we on Biscayne. Trips to the Florida Keys, we imported these. Thanking God for the life he afforded me. All this jewelry on my body, I could light the hood. I need a brown skinned chick just like Megan Good. Holding up every promise that I ever made. Music in the background, it's a serenade. Been rapping 10 years, boy, this ain't a phase. I paid dues, paid rent, and I stayed the same. I had teardrops running down my face. I've been through a lot, I had real pain. But thank God, cause we really on a better days. They say life's a gamble, you gotta roll the dice. I risked a lot of different things just to live this life. Life down bad, you you gotta pay the price. I've been through hell and back just to live this life. They say life's a gamble, you gotta roll the dice. I risked a lot of different things just to live this life. When you down bad, you gotta pay the price. I've been through hell and back just to live this life. What's a life without sacrifice? Sometimes you gotta thank God and just roll the dice. Pacino.
Down 4-8, Fnatic might be up one map, but momentum is all in the hands of Alliance. Can they continue to keep it in their hands on this T side?
Yeah, I mean, an impressive showing, especially getting this sort of trifecta to show up in Avid, Era, Poi. All of them had their moments on that CT side. Gonna need more from them and encounter some difficulties coming into this pistol. If you're catching a kill before that smoke blooms in his face. There's a flurry of flashes that Alliance can throw if they want to try and get into this A bomb site, but it will only allow them space. And Cypher even has some flashes he can counter-deploy to try and slow them down.
Ooh. Very nice kill from Cypher to start things off. BlameF needs to be able to add a few to his own tally, but the flashes from Alliance are fantastic. They are scaling up nicely, but when they do, planting a bomb is still going to be impossible. Jambo, BlameF, and Cypher are just not giving them those options. It is a full team ace for Fnatic in their pistol round.
Yeah, everyone got theirs. Good counter utility, good shooting from Cypher as well. You know, that was going to be the difficulty for Alliance, is that even with all the flashes to get into the site, if they couldn't find kills to come from it, then the flashes do lose their efficacy as time goes on. Becomes less of an influence on the duel. And they're getting picked apart at long distances. Nobody's swinging too haphazardly into those Glocks. Now, a save here for Alliance, but Era has invested into the scout.
Oh.
And comes dangerously close to a spam to BlameF. He's actually forced BlameF to rescind his position. Got into a deeper cubby that cannot be so easily spammed.
I am not safe, but now I am.
Yeah. Well, if he tried it once, he might try it again.
Considering that Era is the only one with firepower brought into this round. Rotting. Rambo, HE, Incendiary, M4, weapons, not kills.
I wonder what they're thoughting about. Ecos, probably. BlameF. MP9. You want to give the SMG the kills, but for some reason, Blame ain't taking it. He's got 2 already, so he's paid off this MP9. Why not we enter profit? Yeah, 3rd one, offered up. Jambo taking the swing, and we'll capitalize on Era's miss. Not a single casualty here for Fnatic. From the pistol into the following. Alliance now in with a full buy.
Do you think BlameF would make a good wealth manager?
I don't know. I feel like you might spend too much time in the gym to manage my finances.
But all of the Instagram influencers do too.
Or playing Counter-Strike. I feel like that's the 2 things he does a lot of, and it shows. You know, good at Counter-Strike, well built.
It's true. And I don't know what his bank account's like, so I can't speak to his wealth management.
Yeah, exactly, you know.
Alliance have to be careful. They've not really managed their finances in the most conducive way. Era's scout was not able to pay off in any meaningful manner. You don't blame him for trying. But you might end up blaming him for not succeeding.
Yeah. But, you know, given the wealthy, long careers that, you know, players like Blame or Crims have had, Wouldn't be surprised if they, if they encounter a bit of lag on one PC, they've got another backup ready to go. That would be an annoying technical issue. If you've not encountered, Alliance are taking it very slow on this. Slow crawl into this A bomb site. Smokes out, and the flash will catch Jambo, but he's got an incendiary that can slow their roll, and with Fear dealing with the player out at long, Jambo just needs to keep on stalling Alliance out. They know that there's a player close to this ramp and by that smoke, and so they will not feel safe enough to get that plant down. Even with 2 players covering out for it, they're still hesitating on this plant. And with players and more reinforcements flurrying into this bomb site, things are getting a little awkward here for Alliance. They're losing members, and they still didn't get that bomb down. No safety whatsoever. They didn't find the kills they were looking for. fnatic move in with 7.
Jambo has 0 kills in that round. That round is all there because of him. Like, that is the definition of unseen impact on the scoreboard. He's able to buy so much time and space for his teammates to make their way over. The fact that he gets off his full belt of utility, I'll be honest, I even thought the last flashbang was kind of pushing it. I thought he'd die because of that, but he still gets it off, ducks in behind the smoke really nicely, doesn't go fully wide either, continues to keep the pressure on, reveals his position without dying. I mean, this is... a weird little anchoring masterclass coming out from the Opera of fnatic.
Yeah. I mean, what a luxury it is to have all of your nades to react to it, but he used each and every one of them to just give more opportunity to his team to help. And Alliance are going to be angry about that, really. They were hoping that you'd fight them at some point, and you just never did.
All right, Blame.
He's been a bit shaky this series, I will say.
I think in Industrial especially, he's been not quite as sharp as Self, Sean Connery.
You're not as sharp as Shelf.
At the same time, I have to wonder whether errors formed from the first half, which was one of the main things superpowering them forward, is ever going to come back online, or you will need replacement fraggers. That seems to be an inevitability, though. Someone else needs to show up here for Alliance.
Yeah, the baseline is too strong for fnatic so far.
Oh, hey, yes, please. You had some Deagles and Crims, you've got some Deagle and Oops. And he's not making any mistakes about it. Flashbang avoided by Fair. He's still trying to get control back of the round into his own hands, and he seems to have done his fair share of work. Unfortunately, can't say the same about Alliance outside of Upe. Everyone else's hands seem spotless, completely clean, and he won them bloody.
Counter-terrorists win.
It's a nice try. I mean, that double kill from Upe was quite saucy and gave them a way into the site, if not for Fear stepping up to the plate and actually just continuing to take fights. I could see players in a position like Fear's seeing his 2 immediate side defenders die like that and being on that long corner, playing for the retake or playing to contain or giving space. But he didn't want this problem to compound into a greater issue where they could get their hands on that AWP, get their hands on that AK, and potentially play out post plant. Fear took the fight to them. Even if it could have potentially cost them the round, they were in a weird position if he didn't. So I think just great immediate recognition of what he needed to do to keep pressure applied.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of individual performances again, not quite in the same clutching capacity. This is great decisions being made on the CT side for fnatic.
It's very contained. That wasn't necessarily demonstrated on their T side, but on CT, yeah, they're finding great reactions. On a micro level, the fights are coming to them and they're reacting well. It's a bad Molotov, and I don't know if that was supposed to bait or lull Blame F into a false sense of security, but he had his wits about him, still gets his 1 kill through those mid doors.
This is a better position for Alliance and might be obvious because fnatic do have to double back and be worried about a multiple player push into upper tunnels. They don't have any short presence at all, and because Fair's not going to be in a position where he feels comfortable actually going to scope out information out long doors, fnatic aren't ever going to move these two players away from B until they have full confirmation on what's going on in A. So you could end up having a 4v2, but instead Alliance is splitting up. Rather, actually Alliance are splitting up. So okay, good for one. Jambo is able to even get away to safety, but Boy comes in from CT spawn instead. So great triangulation onto A, and fnatic, those two players will now finally start to make their way over. They've got a 1v1 that they have to deal with first. At least that's what they thought. Era peeks in wide with the AWP. Cypher is going to be traded by him because of it.
Yeah, a very tricky round from Alliance. Lovely way to break into the bomb site, but they find this opening kill onto Blame F. It's off of a Molotov that goes into the lower tunnels as they're pushing the mid doors. This is not something that teams usually do, and it's something that they hope to catch Blame off with. They didn't succeed. He still gets his 1-for-1, but because they lose that extra man, they anticipate that split, I think, from fnatic. And just by throwing that Molotov to long, you saw the way that Fear and Jambo positioned themselves. They wanted to fight into the bomb site, and when they realized they missed the timing, Jambo had to play for the ramp instead, where Alliance had a player creeping the CT smoke as they were getting up Cat as well. So really well put together. Actually seemed like it kind of cut down the options for fnatic as they were trying to play catch up. A good attempt on the blow of the smoke there for mid. Jambo hoping for an opening pick. With Alliance sneaking their way into that lead, this round could be worth its weight in 2. fnatic have been winning more rounds, so Alliance's loss bonus will be higher. They're likely to still bend the knee if they should cede this one.
Let's see it work both ways.
Alliance can save and buy next, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Whereas for fnatic, that's less feasible.
Out into Cypher. Cypher really needed to get the better of him faster. That leaves him completely alone over here on A. Crims will be traded. Cypher takes a defensive angle instead, and you understand why, but now fnatic have to play a 4v3 into an incredibly difficult bomb site to retake. They don't have smokes to do so either, so you are purely relying on Blame F to be able to line up a good incendiary. There is no one on back plat, so Era is going to continue to get aggressive to try and take the fight to fnatic. Boy will be the main point of contact now instead. Double flashes to go over. fnatic still committed to the attempt to go back in. Boy moved away, but Avid still covering him off. This is just a fantastic post-run hold coming through, and Yambo's late kill is going to be insignificant as Era continues to frag. Even a missed shot leading to Era getting the kill and running away. Actually, no. He doesn't quite get away, but would have if the dust to bomb radius hadn't been changed.
Yeah. They have made adjustments to that. As Jambo was fighting on that B slope, I knew everybody was dead. Basically, anybody that's still fighting, they gone. Nicely done from Alliance. They got caught by the flashes. Actually, the first 2 players, even the positions for Era was a little weird in that after plant, being the AWP in the bomb site as just underneath the window. That's a little insane, but everybody covered each other in that post plant and didn't give fnatic a way back in. Loving what Era's been providing so far to this T side as well. He is trying to get to the forefront of the action. It's a stack on long here for fnatic, but Twist clears out angles and holds that smoke as well. So Alliance looking to breeze into an 11th round.
I mean, this should just be Alliance closing things out after this one. When you look at the economy for fnatic as well, do they have enough for an open Jambo? Even if they do, it's going to have to be a naked op, right?
Yeah, they shouldn't. They should not.
Yeah. Should be about 2400, if I'm not mistaken.
Terrorists win.
Yeah, so they don't have an AWP. They're going to need to get aggressive on their rifles, and surprisingly enough, so far we haven't seen that from Fnatic in any capacity, be it Cypher, be it Crims. We've seen really well-timed mid-round aggression, right? Fair looking for fights out towards A-Long has been a very common theme, but nothing early on.
Yeah. I'd say it was the same for Alliance for basically the whole game as well. You know, the exception to that was Poi when he pushed top mid.
Yeah.
And that was incredibly effective, but it was probably more effective largely due to the fact it was the one-off. So I agree with you, and I would love to see that expressed as an option, but with the way that this game has been going, and with the game getting closer and closer, it's also something that could be anticipated more by Alliance, given that they know that they're closing in on that finish line, and Fnatic will need some kind of answer to get themselves into a better stead. So it's one of those where, you know, very much in the opening segments of games, a lot of teams will try more aggressive options, because later into games, if you try more aggressive options, sometimes it can cost you. Yeah, it can be anticipated. So everybody's always talking about being dynamic and changing your timings or your playbook, or that's what game planning essentially can come down to as well.
Well, it's a good position for Jambo. He knows his util likely being pulled out, and now he sees it sailing forward as well. Error is not completed by him, but Fair's grenade will do just that. And the double peak maintained, so Cypher now has a chance to strike in. No flashes to help Twist cross over from middle. Twist is in fact going to be blinded up by his own teammate, and Cypher picks up the kill onto Poi as well. The rest of Fnatic now circle back to A-Long, where they'll be able to clear out any potential lurking threats. And after that, they come back over, spot out the bomb. This bomb is spotting them. Twist still at risk. Doesn't realize how close by BlameF is going to be, but Upe trades. Can he do it twice? He does need to. Fair will prevent that possibility from coming to fruition. 9th round for Fnatic.
Yeah, Fnatic as well being able to get not only this quick reaction from Fear to not allow players to cross into the bomb site, but then also Cypher cleaning up at the end. This wasn't necessarily hyper aggressive move, but ready to greet and deal with those players out towards long, and getting a little bit more up close and personal than maybe Alliance had anticipated. Fnatic not quite out of this map just yet. Been really enjoying so far. Just honestly, the T side game planning from Alliance, I think, has been pretty spot on for both maps so far.
Yeah.
You know, even though they encountered some difficulties at the start of this half, I've appreciated the ways in which they're compiling themselves in the mid round and some of the gimmicks that they're trying to achieve. They understand that they're the underdogs, and so they have to come in with tricks and targets. These have largely been successful. Good pick from Avid, who actually catches an aggressive move, something that you may be asking for. Cypher trying to push those upper tunnels.
Fnatic have used, well, the Alliance have used all but one flash. Actually, 2 flashes. Upe also has one. Yamba's going to drop down, a flash to respond. Upe completely blinded out, and Fair looks to replace. That flash doesn't do anything to Fair. Fair has every chance. He has been such a stone on this A side, but now the water has finally forced him to crumble down. Yambo cannot defend either.
That is heartbreaking. He's in the right spot. He's not affected by the util. And there's 20 bullets that, 4 may connect to each body, but he doesn't finish off a kill. You imagine just him being able to get some success. Jambo, his position doesn't have to be compromised immediately. But that will be a tough pill to swallow, because Fear may have had the remainder of this map kind of in his hands, and Yeah, just couldn't connect them to the goalposts, or couldn't connect them between the goalposts. That is a crying shame. But Alliance will be all the more pleased for it. There have been many times where they've had advantages, they've been in good positions, they've lost 2 stars, or they've lost 2 pieces that have pulled in from multi-kills. That has been the case from map to map, but there is a big star on the server here for Alliance. Era opening up this moment, and even catching wind of another, only for Poi to deal with Blame F.
Fnatic are seeing the curtains come down in front of them right now. This was supposed to be their moment of triumph. Instead, it is going to be a question mark towards map number 3, unless we can see Crims give us another miracle. It's confined to the T side. Maybe that confinement can stop the prison of Scythes. Can come to an end. Cypher closes the distance in from behind. He's able to guarantee they're all coming over to A, and Crims will take that guarantee all the way to the bank. Unfortunately, Yambo doesn't have a bank account. It's a real difficulty, but it might not be what stops them from getting the round. Alliance now hesitate, and in that hesitation, Cypher has found another kill. You're right back to a 2 versus 2. Cypher takes another duel. Crims needs a full quad. An opportunity offered up. Back to the 1v1. A duel which he has never lost. He has been stalwart in the theater of dreams, in the clutches. Upe on the other side has fallen many a time. Crims, head spotted out, shots being missed, AK switches out, and Upe will get the better of him. Crims cannot get it done, he will falter, as does Fnatic on their own map pick.
So close, and there were many moments, many clutches, as there, I imagine, will continue to be throughout this series. This time, Alliance were able to get some to fold their way. Whether that was Poi, whether that was Upe in these critical ones.
Something really spectacular just by virtue of his aim, by virtue of how, individually strong he is. And unfortunately, that wasn't there. You had some great decisions being made from Fair and a couple of individual bases, but not really numbers being put up between him or Yambo either. Fnatic need more if they're to win our train, especially with the way Alliance has been calling.
Listen, I know it's tempting to say Yambo because he's on Fnatic and he's got a J in his name, but there ain't no reason.
In my head, I was putting Johannesson before, and it just automatically defaulted into Yambo.
Yambo Johannesson.
The Swedish prospect is now in the ground to the actual Swedish prospect, Era, to put him to bed. Cypher is not feeling too healthy, but he's never needed to feel healthy to get headshots. Will be a quick little splitsies situation. Aaron Poi will be hunting him down. Cypher given a fair shot of things, but will not find the kill.
Yeah, this puts Fnatic in a very awkward position because they're expecting it to be an A hit, but also simultaneously they have to be very worried about all these wrapping potentials that Era has opened up with his lurk. So with Crims dying inside of the site, Fear's made a play round the smoke, and he will catch Poi, but he does manage to actually cancel the plant. Poi was doing circles just to try and make his head hitbox harder to hit. He's buying time for Blame F to make his way in through Pop, but Blame needs to reveal himself. He needs to find this kill, and both Fear and him strike in simultaneously. Now just Upe trapped at the back of the site, and Fear will double up with Blame F for a collection on 4. Fnatic pulling through on that pistol with a couple of tricks of their own.
I didn't expect that to be happening at all, but it's good to see both Fair and Blame activating early on into the game. Gotta say, when Jambo went down and Cypher only got 1, it did feel like, yeah, that should be round over. Alliance, another place where perhaps those quote-unquote winning situations are not always so winning.
Yeah, it makes a world of a difference as well that Fear got the kill onto Poi, doing these circles while trying to plant the bomb, because if there was bomb time pressure, Alliance don't have to play it in the manner that they do. One player with their hands busy, others trying to cover these angles into the bomb site. It's a tricky position, and so Fear made a very astute sort of observation that he could maybe slink into that smoke for the gap.
Oh, good nade.
Timing on it solid, but had he waited a little longer, he could have gotten even more damage. How's he to know? Execute's coming his way, though.
Rims is the one to receive a flashbang in his face, and he doesn't feel good about this at all. FlameF has a chance over here to deliver a moment of magic. Unfortunately, it's a moment of his life, and that's all he had left. Boy, to take it away, Alliance is fighting back as soon as they've been put down. Jambo, at the very least, is going to come back into the site and make things possible for his teammates. Fear will still struggle to make his way over. Cypher is yet to clear out Zcon, so Jambo will continue to be the point of first contact. Reveals position. They will have heard that gun being swapped out into Cypher. Great control on the Farmers, and Avid's been brought down low as well. Jambo's wasting no time, and he's wasting no bullets either. Twist left alone. Fear to cover him off. Twist will not be able to take down the diffuser. fnatic will not let Alliance come back into the round.
Yeah, Jambo just got on that bomb in the nick of time. It was real close, though. Everyone was clearing out. fnatic with a triple via Jambo, and 3 surviving what is a very, very close shave. Crim's getting nothing on his hold to the B ramp, and fnatic getting blindsided by how quickly they got out to the sidewalk. He was really expecting that they'd play it slow and just play for the bomb plant. Instead, they actually look to take space and make use of the execute. Like, if it was a full gun round, Blame does expect them to scale that way. But something a little different. Jambo getting silenced once again at the entrance to Ivy. This time it's Blame that's behind him that steals that AWP away.
Gorgeous shot.
It's a hell of a way to start. And Train is a very difficult map to play when you're in a man deficit as a CT side. There's so many different angles you have to hold. It always feels like something can and has to be left open to a certain degree as a result. So I do love the reset, given the opportunity that they have to make use of this man advantage.
They've found the right bomb site. If they're heading over towards B, Crims is completely alone. Now, it's still really hard angles to deal with, and Crims is the player you want. Oh my god, you can't do that to him.
They are in a world of trouble. Crims has too much to look at. He has to also worry about the prospect of a player going through spawn, but now that Twist has been dealt with, now suddenly Crims can focus on what's ahead of him. Focus on the ramp, but they're coming out from the heavens. Those Deagles unable to land clean shots. Crims not giving them those chances, but they will be able to punch in those digits, no problem. What they get afterwards is still to follow. Era gets the follow-up. Crims knows there's a player up close, and while he has Fear behind him, he cannot deal with what's ahead. Upe is still close, and round that train he'll go. They will collect on a full Deeg purchase. Alliance breaking past the fnatic full buy.
I don't know when the last time I saw a full deco round work was, actually. I know I've definitely seen a couple of one-offs, but this is just a throwback to a completely different time, back when everyone was still buying only Deagles. You know, you're not going to see the Tech 9s with util coming into play. You're not going to see like P250 util, Kevlars here or there, right? This is just brute force.
I think that's the most important piece about what you're talking about, is that there is no util. You know, there's no frills. There's nothing that makes it any more interesting than just taking fights. And Alliance knocked them down. Everyone who held that AWP got dismantled. And the M4s didn't fare much better.
I mean, you're also going to see fnatic having their economy stretched out even more so because of the last round, where Alliance was able to find a couple of key entries to start off the round. Sure, fnatic saved 3, but now you still see the impact of it. Farmers and an AWP is all that you've got to take forward. Rather, take in to this one. It could very quickly be tempted into a save.
Even buying the AWP in the previous round was quite an expense, so back-to-back rounds? Put some extra strain on your economy, that's for sure.
A lot of space being bought by Era. Jambo misses his opportunity, but Cypher's quick to compensate. Jambo wants to repeat back in. Cypher's doing so, everything on his own. Avid's triple kill, though, is what gives Alliance a chance to make this a fair fight. And that's one thing they never thought this would be. It's now rifle and op on either side, even if one of those is a farmer. Jambo cannot miss these shots. It is not permitted. Blame is left alone, 1 versus 2. Both his kills so far were in the pistol round so far. Since then, he is yet to frag.
Yeah, it's been a dry spell. And they've gone the right way. Blame is frequently fleet-footed to address that A bomb site. He's been behind that player in Ivy in one round as well, and so they pull the other way. And they anticipate his reposition into the brown holes. Upe collecting on the double kill, but it's the Avid triple that really rocks fnatic's defense. And they're down to pistols now. Alliance a chance to take the lead. And they've done so with some style.
Yeah. Jambo missed 2 critical shots in that previous round, though. You have to say, this is not what you are expecting to see. The one thing I will say for Alliance is, you know, a lot of their style is coming in the hands of Era, and I love that.
Yeah. In fairness to Jambo, he did hit the shot, but it was a tag, and it was finished off by his teammate.
Yes. And the second shot was just a full miss.
Yeah, the second shot was a full miss. Not an easy shot, necessarily, but he put himself in that position, so he knew it was a sink or swim moment, and he sank.
Well, he's still sinking.
I wonder what he's thinking about.
I miss the days when it was me who made the bad jokes.
Yep.
How the tides turn.
How the turntables.
And how the tables tide. Blame SP 250. He's not going to find more than just the one.
Well, there is a timing for Crims to hit now. That is going to be picked up immediately by Ube. Thought Era would maybe venture back. That would be the way in, but no. Good awareness from Alliance juggling what is open. And so Crims shouldn't get away with too much. There is a gun to be retrieved on this B site, however. The difficulty will be getting there in the first place. Upe safeguarding and dealing with Crims in the end, who has yet to find a kill so far in this map. Now, I wouldn't often put a lot of importance on Crims.
Right.
In series, you know, support player, role player, been on Fnatic for many, many years.
Yeah.
And yet in this series, Crims has been a stalwart piece. Right? Probably the most important piece, actually, for Fnatic in their bout with Alliance so far.
Surely he doesn't have a 1.31 rating across the series so far, Michael. Surely not.
No, yeah. It's actually exactly that.
Well, right now it is still Chai. Boy is the one to connect on Jambo. Jambo has been faring slightly better, but only ever so slightly.
Some of that Crims impact has come from clutches, has come from key kills in the late round, and all of that has been absent so far. This is a decent way to start here for Fnatic, but with BlameF getting recognized in those upper holes, smoke that's down that allows him to escape. I'll say outside of the one round where Jambo has been aggressive with that AWP, he has been picked off fairly often on this CT side so far. And Era caught asleep at the wheel. A very wide swing between Fear and Cypher, just willing to take that duel to Ivy. They'll catch another, and so they bring the advantage back.
Still very clustered around A right now for Fnatic. They are playing on a hairline trigger to call for a rotate. Fair still worried about it. IV presence. It's been something that Alliance has really been featuring. Avid reveals himself. The bomb yet to show. Cypher so sloppy on the spray. Fear Plays up to his level though, and that is still going to be cut short. Cypher now punished. Twist puts him down. Crims will not be able to stop this bomb from being planted. Blame F covered off by Twist on the other side. Twist taken down. Now it's all down to Upe. Upe knows where Crims is, goes out for the duel, and Crims will start things off on Train with a quick double.
Yeah. Definitely thought that Crims was going to continue progressing after being so aggro as the plant was coming in. You could tell Upe just looking the complete wrong direction, anticipating Crims to close the gap, only for him to slink further back in connector, actually waiting for Blame F to swing from Pop Dog. But even with that, Crims comes away with his double. Now, I mean, Cypher's had a decent performance so far in this map, but that was far from his best work at the back of the site. Some struggles wrangling that AK spray.
It can be unwieldy sometimes. I can tell you that much.
I will say as well, some of the recent updates have maybe not done the best things for sprays, but hoping that can still work. Then Jambo collects on a kill to Ivy. Arrow down, and so his counterpart is no longer a consideration.
I'm just imagining Modesty saying to Nico, "What do you mean? This is a great update. I'm so much better after it."
Yeah, they're too busy playing on LAN to worry too much about.
Oh, is it fine on LAN?
Okay.
I actually don't know.
It's different.
Okay.
Better.
Jambo's watching out for the catwalk play. He is hoping the Crim's going to hold down the fort down and lower. There's plenty of utility to go for a full pop into B. If Jambo misses a shot, this bomb will make its way over to the site. Smoke out. Jambo now underneath an incendiary. That shot has been missed. The bomb making its way over. It's interesting to see Upe has not actually dropped down just yet. Crims will reveal position and lose his life because of Upe staying his course. Now they know there's a player coming in from behind. They're going to try and deal with the ones in front of them first. But Twist is left at a 1v2 that seems impossible, and rightfully so. Fair's triple will give fnatic their fourth.
Yeah, I mean, really good job from Fear. Actually, just kind of, I think, being active so far in the CT side when they've tried to take space. He's very much been at the forefront of that. Obviously, as the in-game leader, a lot of leaders will try and create that opportunity for the rest of the squad, but he's very frequently being the one to put his finger to the pulse of what is anticipated next, what they expect Alliance to do next. And he's coming away with quite a few of these kills, mainly because he's been so active. And another multi-kill to add to the tally. That's what makes this Fnatic team. And you know, when people looked at the construction of this Fnatic team from the outside, it's what people drew out from it before they'd even had results. Is that, you know, in theory, with the heights of what Fear and Jambo accomplished under Passion UA with the major run in Shanghai, with the veterancy of Crims, when you have Blame F as this sort of lurking but sometimes aggressive piece, and you've got, you know, Cypher as this brute force entry. You've got like an opener, a closer, you've got mid-round players. It feels like it should come together. And I think we've seen the fruits of that labor really start to blossom as of late with the slew of LAN outings for Fnatic. But it took them some time. It really did. And even then, it's not, you know, we've still been critical of them so far in this series against a team that is outside of the usual dating pool, so to speak.
They're not quite the same high value team, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Or whatever
whatever they're calling it.
Every day there's a new word.
Yeah, they're not one of the Sigma teams.
Twist will need to embody his best self, though. He has taken the mantle of a hero on, and that is a heavy mantle to bear. Often it can drag your head down with it. His singular AK-47 has 40 seconds and a fake smoke out on A to try and get some action on B. No one's buying into the fake smoke. Fnatic have players aggressively positioned in A, and Crims can hold down because of it. Once again, the Deagles come in. Blame have great spray, but Twist is there to trade. The bomb can be planted. CTs will have to go for a full retake. There are 2 rifles now picked up. They are both taking contact. No, rather, one of them is planting the bomb. Boy will be late about this. Fair has to go through an incendiary. He will fall down to Twist because of it still. Despite his best efforts, Cypher and Jambo are able to close the distance and take down the last 2 players almost at the same time.
Yeah, very sacrificial position there for Crims. I mean, Blame is holding the lower side ramp for him, but with Crims taking that, it was all about Blame and how many kills he could get inside of the site, because if he comes away empty-handed, there's very little chance the Fnatic can get out of connector safely. You know, there's a couple of guns that can be recovered. They could have multiple watching that con angle, but by whittling those numbers down, suddenly you had this extra pace that Fnatic could apply. Great HEs into Pop Dog, makes it difficult. Fear down to 4 HP, but they're still looking to apply that pressure. Jambo finds that opener, and Fear looking to tighten the noose. Even with those extra HEs, he still finds perfect timing and even moves in for the double. Why not on that low health? And with Blame behind him, there's an extra safety net that Fnatic have. Twist left alone with a tech and separated from that bomb. What's a man to do?
Watch as everyone around you dies. That's the case for Twist, at least.
Oh, I thought you were gonna hype up this moment for him. I was ready to watch and learn.
You learn how to deal with grief, Michael. That's what you're learning.
I'm ready to watch and learn. 45 seconds. Smoke, molly, flash.
A man on a mission of vengeance. Cypher could be his first victim. He needs to go out for a swift tap. He's found it. Blame on the other side, though, is about to catch him with util drawn. Twist will not let that happen. Second set util deployed. He's got 20 seconds. He intends to use every single one of them. The backstab is good, but Jambo will remind him that numbers trump all. They're closely positioned.
Yeah, I was watching, I was learning. I loved what Twist was trying to concoct there, but yeah, you're right. There's just too many members to have to deal with. As soon as you even give a step away, you are going to be swarmed by the sheer advantage that Fnatic found themselves with in the early segment. And that's the thing I will say about Fnatic. It's something that I know about their train is that they do like to be a bit more active than I think some of their other maps. I think that's maybe been a critique from Inferno to Dust 2, and Inferno's maybe not the most conducive, but you know, you've got the pieces to really pull it off, and there are teams that do like to go for those more forward-facing approaches. You would think that would kind of fall in line with Fnatic's wheelhouse, but the map that they've really, I think, demonstrated that well, and it's kind of scaled up to tougher opposition as well, has actually been on train, so I like that they still decide to go for that move, even with Fear tanking through HEs at the start of the round. He knew Jambo was going to commit to the peek in the upper holes, and Fear ain't one to leave someone like Jambo behind.
And the only hesitation in Fear's life is in his name. And that doesn't show up on the server except when you're being killed by him or killing him.
Yeah, does he give other people fear, or is he the one that's fearful?
TBD. Jambo, unfortunately, his fate was almost decided there and then. Cypher is there to play bodyguard as he has once before. Feels like Jambo's bodyguards are plentiful and also pretty good at their job.
Blame heard there was a deagle. Oof. And it's Cypher that's mopping up these kills. Why is Blame bumping booties?
It's just what, you don't bump booties to tell your bro good job?
I guess so.
You need more bros and booties, Michael. Upe taken down, Blame F traded. And Cypher's here to seal the deal. fnatic continue to have a swimmingly good first half.
In spite of some of the shortfalls that they've had, the surprise that they encountered losing to strictly Deagles, they've been dancing past the problem so far on this CT side. Had many a close call, but without that extra caliber that we were getting out of players like Avid, Era, Poi, and some of those in Dust 2, for example, it's been difficult for Alliance so far. Lovely clear onto Jambo, who took a deep peek Ivy, but found himself trapped in a corner.
Cypher's been fully flashed off in his what could have been a really good timing. Boy, now looks to ruin that timing, but unfortunately, Cypher will just receive him as a gift instead. Alliance are now falling apart in this round. They know they are being scrunched in from all sides. There's 2 players on B, that's something they don't know about, but they're about to find out. Crims will die for the cause. That cause was Cypher pushing in from behind. But when he takes a knee, it's all down to the Danish beast. Flashbang dodged. Fair has been asked to start making his way over. Fair has an op.
This really could get weird, because Avid may call them back to that A bomb site if he calls it clear, and they could end up in a collision course with Fear, or he could flank this B bomb site and thinks it'd still get awkward.
Fair needs to defend this with a couple of no-scopes. The combat opping could not look better. The bomb is on the ground, and the call has been made. It is defense, defense, and only defense, but with blame. About to find out that the bomb is headed over towards the A side. It is likely a lost round for fnatic. But maybe, just maybe, he can come in from behind, snipe off one, and with the op down, he'll have time to at least make a play. The problem is the lack of kit, Michael. There's no one en route either.
Alliance know that he has options, though. He's taken so long, he could be anywhere. That's the one advantage he has, in spite of not having that kit.
I mean, he's been forced to make noise, so that advantage is now gone by the wayside. Doesn't see the bomb either. Blame him. Doesn't feel like there's any real chance of going for it, and he's right. Will be forced to save this M4. Their money could be better, but I think they would have had to buy even if he died over here, so... Actually, no, this is a valuable save.
Yeah, it gives Cypher a proper weapon.
Very awkward round coming out, though, overall from fnatic. It felt like when Cypher gets that first skill, they had every advantage, but they then re-aggress with Crims, and both players die.
I agree. It felt needless. Without the extra player as a safety net, either in pop or, double pushing that lower ramp, it does feel like it's a little half in, half out, right? Because they had Blame actually kind of sitting on the B bomb site while Crims is fading the smoke. Yeah, it felt a little needless.
1 for 1, out in the middle. The aggression is counted out by a man who knows very much what it's like to be aggressive. Cypher, however, does not realize that there's no one to be found in the brown holes and beyond. It is purely an A main focus attack from the T side. Alliance are fighting for 5, and with the way Poi is getting kills, they might just get it. Jambo has a chance for redemption. He's had moments where he could have really done more. But if he closes things out, gives fnatic the 8-4, that's the scoreline they were looking for going into this half.
Jambo's, he's going to be, of course, hyper-conscious of all these different possibilities. There's a smoke down at the sandwich where they could have crept out red. They could be in hell. They could be creeping Ivy. He has absolutely no idea. But it's gone quiet, and maybe too quiet. So instead he opts to pair up with Crims. So much time left on the clock. Alliance do have the chance to actually even wrap spawn if they so choose. Since they have that man advantage, why not go with the bomb site that you last forayed into? They'll find it clear.
Bomb plant will be free. Crims will be incredibly late back to the site. And Jambo's utility could be the most useful part of him. There is no reason at all for Alliance to peek. The bomb is planted for them in every single way.
Yeah, this retake is near impossible, even with all the util.
Incendiary to the corner. Could find Upe at the very least. A grenade as well. That nade will not be doing too much. Upe re-peeks back out over, but they know it. A smoke on top of where the bomb is. Crims needed to get the kill. Neither one of them able to find the frags. fnatic will be confined to 7 and Alliance find respectability at the turn of the half. Can they complete this attempt at a comeback? Let's find out after a break. Five is seen as a decent T side. I don't know if Alliance would fully agree with that. It felt like fnatic was running away with things, if not for those last 2 rounds. fnatic now have to show up on the offensive side of Train as well. In the last map, this decider could not get closer.
Ooh. They're gonna put up or shut up, and Blame's already put one straight into the kill feed. Finds Era peeking up deep, and with Jambo spotting out this aggression in through the long dog, they're ready to greet these members of Alliance. 2 men extra down, and so it will only be the 2 that sat on that B bomb site at the start. Have to try and pull this one back in for the Swedes.
fnatic should be able to find the second pistol round off this map. If not, well, Boy and Twist will have pulled together a ridiculous 2 versus 4. And Boy is teeing himself up for it, Michael. He is ready for what could be a couple of jiggle out swift taps. But maybe he's missed the timing. He's peeking back into players that are already ready for him. Only Twist. 1v4. Tom's made its way over, spots up Blame, and Blame will pick him up. Third kill. And that might be making things a whole lot more difficult for Alliance.
Yeah, even the chances of winning that 1-on-4 were going to be trying for Twist when, one, he's in a terrible situation to begin with, but also fnatic weren't running linearly. They were all jumping around. They knew they had a numbers advantage and they wanted to play off of that and guarantee trades. Lovely shooting from Blame F with that P250, finding the opener, but also collecting the follow-up on that deep fight to A. Two very long-range duels that will benefit fnatic in, like you said, kind of creating or making the opportunities fleeting for Alliance.
Good kill on the Crims. The Eagles are how Alliance managed to make their way into the first half. Can they do so with the 5/7 of a hair? It would be an impressive feat. And Avid's already started to make his way into that. Boy recovers an MP9 as well. Fear's making his way forward, passes Sandwich, but Era turns around to take a bite out of him. Avid now fighting back into Cypher's crosshair. Seems to be certain death, at least for this map. 17 and 8 so far. And by the end of this round, it might be more. At least that's what fnatic are hoping for. Blame still being diligent, checking every angle. Twist will be the victim of due diligence.
And he'll safeguard and secure a path for Cypher in the site itself. It's a Blame and Cypher double and a quad between them. 9th round for fnatic secured, but it does come pretty damn close. Another moment where I think fnatic were maybe shaking in their boots. They've had many near misses. They've fallen foul to buys of a similar ilk. There's only so many times that can happen before you pull your bootstraps up. Cheerleader stack inside of Con. Fear is running right into his demise, and he finds out just what was waiting on the other side for him. Blame will have a field day versus these pistols between him and the rest of the gang, actually. They all hard swung to kill those players in Con. Only Twist that remains.
The gang goes out to kill some pistols. What a good old time. Alliance are realistically going to have one gun round where they can make a show of things. It'll be the next round. That is what this entire game hinges on.
Bomb has been planted.
It's never a position you want to be in.
Terrorists win.
But unfortunately, they really do only have themselves to blame.
Yeah, it has been trying. They've had so many of these close calls, near misses that there's a part of me that also feels for Alliance. They've had quite a few of these opportunities. We understood coming into this series that it would be quite the upset if Alliance were able to win against fnatic. And it's not necessarily off the table just yet, but you see this game slipping further and further away. And we were talking about Crims as being this influential piece so far in this series. That 1.31 rating he has coming into train. He has not been as necessary, he has not been as impactful, but the rest of the team are showing up in more major ways. Arrow will hope to put a stop to that, though, and he goes hard swinging straight into Long Dog and finds two fantastic openers.
If there is ever a round to do it, it would be the one where I said, hey, it's now or never. Era
Bold.
also delivered in the Deagle round that gave Alliance a first in the first half. Now he's looking to do the same in their initial gun round leading into the second. Round's not over yet. Cypher and Blame F are still alive. The vast majority of the numbers on the scoreboard are concentrated between them. Jambo not too far behind either. Twist has got a lot to do. Maybe not the right weapon for the job, but with Cypher being low HP, there wouldn't be a dink difference. He still loses his life. Cypher's having a field day. Era, now. Caught between angles. So many to consider. And it literally could be anywhere. And right now, fnatic are everywhere. Jambo, do not take that peek. You have the bomb. Jambo will take the peek and the head. Do not listen to me, Jambo. Apparently, you're the professional for a reason.
Yeah, Avid was, I mean, holding a hairline angle, and he just gets decimated just trying to cut them off from spawn. But now fnatic are, in a way, kind of trapped, because Era's round the edge of this smoke, but he finds a perfect timing round at Cypher. Immediate trade, and recognizes that Yupe could be nearby as well. And while Jambo slides on by towards the back of this B bomb site, there may just be enough room for him to plant. He will hazard the journey. He will get the space. Upe spots the feet, however, swinging wide. And so Jambo cannot think about clutching things back. 6th round for Alliance, and it's all stems from Era on that AWP.
Cypher almost does it.
Yeah, he does.
A first kill on a twist was nice, but the second as well on top of it all, that is fantastic. Still, always hard to fight back from a 3 versus 5 deficit. Era is the one to get the triple in the end, and all credit to him. AWP will be recovered as well, handed back over to him. Alliance will be very grateful about the fact that they didn't really commit too much economy earlier on, and Era can fight with his weapon of choice.
It's another round of, bravado and bravery from Era. I mean, we look back at the Inferno when he was holding top banana, peering deep, he was missing shots, and he kept swinging, he kept taking chances, and he took the opportunity. And if those aren't going to be immediately punished, as they should be, then Era, you can't give this guy, 1, 2 chances, maybe a third is outrageous. And Era's come away with multi-kills when he's gone for those hard committal swings, especially when he's had slower burners in these games. Like most AWPers, after they take a fight into Pop Dog, would retreat immediately if they missed the first shot. Era went for seconds and thirds.
That's a hungry man. Cypher's also been incredibly hungry, gluttonous even. 21 and 10 for a player who has, to be honest, been a little bit absent for the rest of the series.
He's had some difficulties, and I think that's been testament to his kind of time on fnatic, but he's also been a big reason as to why they've had more of a rise as of late. In games where he finds his impact, it is undeniable the formula that fnatic have.
That looked like it's the easiest shot of Era's life.
And sometimes it can be that simple. 40 seconds though, and they're starting to throw some util towards this B bomb site, just trying to distract and draw players away, and they've succeeded. Cypher can take some room.
He needs to be able to scale up quickly. Avid finds a critical kill. Can't even look to back off. Crims continues to have a sinker of a game. 3-13 now, and that should be the round over and done with. The peek up from Avid. Forfeits his own life. Fair can cross over, pick up the bomb. We can't find it. Has the bomb gone over the other side? No. Now he picks it up. A molly is down, but it's too late. Blame will get the kill, but it will not matter. He'll only be forced to save this AK.
Yeah, and he will succeed in doing that. Yeah, spam could have been a little bit juicy, but lovely kills there from Alliance. Once again, whittling them down before fnatic really have anything to really show for it. Cypher gets an opening kill in Ivy. They try and reset, then they lose a player setting up outside of B. And even on this reroute, it's that Avid double kill from Connector. After Alliance had given that space over, there was a real possibility that fnatic could have had a free bomb plant and they could have gotten themselves into a winning position, but Avid had other ideas. Well, it does appear that we have a bit of a technical issue arising, so we will be back after a very short break. Don't go anywhere. And lo and behold, I tell the truth. It was a very, very short break. Well,
Yes.
Welcome back. We are into the third map of our upper bracket here in the ESL Challenger League Season 50 European Cup. And this is, of course, the upper bracket. So whether or not you have a vested interest in Fnatic or Alliance succeeding, there's still more chances for them so far in this bracket. The loser of this game would have a date with BC Game in the lower bracket, which is...
And who doesn't want a date with Simple, huh?
Yeah, well, he did just go on an interview recently and basically just call the rest of the circuit in the tier 2 kind of the same people that you encounter in your pugs, actually. That's why he's been doing so well down there, it seems.
He's been negging them for the dates. Who knew the 1990s were making a comeback?
He's still alphaing them somehow.
This is going to be a mincemeat machine, more likely than not.
Yeah, well, it looked like they were destined for the meat grinder, only for them to turn the other cheek.
Okay, that's they turned the other cheek. There might be some clapping going on over here, unfortunately.
I honestly hadn't really recognized that you could peek that angle as deep as that. You saw Cypher like ducking his head, hoping to dodge the open. It wasn't very successful, and nobody really will be here for Fnatic against the full buy of Alliance. They actually looked to close the distance against those pistols, and it was highly effective.
Alliance are right back into things. You have a really bad buy for Fnatic here. Like, blame not having money for utility. Even if he has a rifle thrown over to him, and I would argue at this point, Crim's buddy, like, you're on pie duties now, all right? Maybe trade that out as much as, some of Blame's stats can sometimes be argued, but impact is going to be needed. Cypher right now, though, he's fully blind. The flashbang is great, and Upe might be traded, but Avid will also have that same fate given over to him. Crims, I question him, and he answers back with a massive double.
Yeah, double trades is massive for Fnatic, because Alliance wanted to be aggressive. They wanted to come away with an advantage, maybe reset somehow. But while they were doing that over at B, Twisters pushed very, very deep. And based on the way that Fear has been playing this, they seem to be conscious of this possibility, but will they expect this angle? Oh my god, they're all lined up for Twist. His position is a marvel. There's all those years of experience catching up and shutting out Fnatic's hopes and dreams of making a mid-round play.
I think Fnatic's hopes and dreams of even maintaining a lead are about to be shut out with the way things are going. They are going to need a half-buy win. You look at the spread out on Alliance, it is very even. You're seeing a solid average of 13 to 14 across the board. Fnatic standard deviations a little bit higher, put it that way.
Feels destined for a pop of some kind, and they go out with just the SMG of Blame first, and then the follow-up from Pop Dog. And it's a 1-for-1. Era still holding on to Connector, though, and he's not missing those shots as they go out swinging. And he's dialed in. They don't get anywhere.
All right, he's the best player on the server. Crown it now.
Yeah, Era had his... Again, he had his drawbacks, he had his issues, same as Inferno at the start, but then that one round where he pushed into Pop Dog and got the double kill, and then walked the smoke con to get the triple, from then on out, he has been hitting shots, and he's been causing big issues.
They're doing a reverse Crims right now. Crims went from insane to pie to... Era went from pie to insane.
Yeah, who's the real energy vampire, actually?
Well... You might need some vampiric powers for Fnatic to sort of come alive at this point, Michael, because they do feel like they've been put in a coffin. The nails aren't in yet. Right? You can still see an Undertaker-style punch out, get up. But who's going to be the puncher?
Yeah, that fear is definitely creeping up on Fnatic, that's for sure. They've got a puzzle to solve, and I don't know if they've got a cipher to crack it.
Fair takes early damage out. It's going to be aggression coming through from Upe. Great position, and Era is only going to make it better. Upe finishes off what Poi was able to start with that utility damage. 5 versus 3. Alliance have every advantage, and look, this team is basically, what, a 5v3 and another gun round away from taking it to the finals, potentially, of the ESL Challenger European Cup. Or the upper bracket finals.
Yeah,
Enough in a 1v5. Calories don't get emptier than this.
unless you win it.
In which case, I take it all back.
Yeah. I'm sure Blame would love to hit that protein with all of those chicken nuggets. First kill, not to be followed up. Poi with the immediate trade, and make sure it doesn't get out of their hands. Lead re-attained here for Alliance, 11-10. And those chances, those opportunities to win this game in regulation, hell, win the game in general, are fleeting. And those doors start to open up for Alliance instead.
This is the first time they've been in the lead since 3-2 up. fnatic have forgotten how to win rounds on this T side when Cypher isn't popping off for those early entries. You need an answer, you need it fast. I'm looking at you, Fair. Crims is at least going to find error. That was a great play to start things off, but a shot being missed means that Crims had a chance.
That looked like the play they wanted. They blew the smoke themselves, but they weren't expecting the pace. How fast fnatic would cross into those brown holes. And so Arrow, with all the great work he's done, is the first deficit. And it's on Upe to try and hold and contain the progression here on this B bomb site, but he's spotted and fully flushed out. 5-on-3. Good arguments to save here for Alliance. But they've got so much money in reserve. They'll give it a good old-fashioned try. While Cypher trades, Poi answers only for this twist flank to just be a little too late.
Does he save the AK? You got plenty of money. You always want another AK-47. Twist decides no. I'm gonna make a go of things here and now. Crims is only in possession of a deagle. Twist is going to run into his own incendiary. Right as he gets there, it will dissipate, so he won't take any damage from it. Crims spotted out, and Blame's there to play off of his teammate. So, fnatic will make sure that lead is short-lived, but it does come off the back of a little bit of a gift from God.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Crims has not necessarily had the greatest game, but he's had a couple of rounds where he has come away with a double kill, and this is one of them where it is actually converted upon. Last time over, Twist played spoiler, but if Crims hadn't taken that space so quick, that opening gambit that Alliance went for actually may have netted error and opener. Instead, it comes at his expense.
There are 3 players starting off on the B-bomb side this time early on. Alliance are very concerned about a faster play to be made once again by Crims or anyone of the sort. Crims will be found, sussed out, brought down, and that double kill we saw 4 rounds ago, it just happened again.
You haven't seen as many of those star hero moments here on Train. A 3v5 would be a great way to flex that capability. But Alliance have not been giving them many of those opportunities. Alliance have played a very strategic game. When people think of the Alliance era, and I'm not talking about Nature's Prophet split pushing. They can think about this AWPer that is doing so damn much for the squad, whether it's been these multi-kills on the AWP or a rifle. It's a double here for Era, again in defensive B. And map and series point for Alliance are underdogs in this upper bracket.
Fnatic are going to come into this with 2 players on SMGs. Play FNX for a Galil instead of the full belt of utility. I understand that. I see it. But as much as I will level accusations of underperformance at individual players, I also have to ask one straightforward question. When it is round 24 and you need to make a call to stay in it, to be relevant for competition, do you have what it takes? Can you bring things back in, or are the Swedish underdogs powered forward by Era going to steal this one out from underneath your very feet?
This game has not been without its twists and turns, and Twist has been a key piece here on Train. He's been a key piece this series with the decisions he's been calling, the game planning, whether that's necessarily all him or coaching staff instead. But when the game gets close, Crims can show up. He's found his kill, but Cypher walks a smoke right into the clutches of Twist. And it's these old dogs that find new tricks here at the end of this map. Boy playing close to the smoke, and Fear, if he just catches one of those jiggles... Oh, the Molotov could have also flushed Poi out of position, but he sits right in the lines then.
Lane's gonna go for the Glazy Claire. It's taken down. Poi, good for one, will be traded away by Fair coming in from the back lines. Tech 9 able to take him down. Crims yet to really reveal the fact that he has stayed inside. Pop Dog Era, good for the first kill. Twist looked like he was teed up for another. Era instead is stealing it all away. It's only Crims. He's got 2. It's not enough to dink as well. It's as close as can be. 13-11 Alliance will take the series. They will enter the upper bracket finals.
Yeah, I mean, marvelous stuff. And it's crazy to think that Alliance could have gotten here when there were so many reasons to doubt what they were bringing to the table, the caliber of players that they have, the game planning. We praise it throughout this entire series, but they fell short in so many of these key moments, these clutch potential rounds, these man advantages. They were losing it out to the caliber that Fnatic bring to the table, and it does come as close as this. It's I guess destined that the decider is Train, and we still see that same level of I guess tactical prowess. They still have that same ability to read some of these situations, and they play off each other much better, and played off each other much better than I think Fnatic did throughout the series as a whole. And that was a way to leverage all the preparation coming into this game, where they expected that they'd be outgunned, but that didn't make it a difference down the stretch.
I mean, we are seeing some great stuff coming out from Alliance. I have to give them commendation. On the T side, it's the actual calling. Sure, I think on Train there were places where it could have had more, but also infamously difficult map to call on this T side. CT side, you've got Era showing up. You're seeing great decisions from Twist as well. No one is really falling behind too massively so, which did feel like, you know, it sucks to point any fingers, but Crims and even for me, Jambo was very absent for most of the game.
Yeah, I mean, had some fantastic moments and had a fantastic Inferno, but yeah, there were definitely